Quick, I want to go first. Diaoqi, standing opposite, initiated the combat with a technique called 10,000 arrows pierce the heart. He then swung his hand, shooting dozens of spiritual energy beams towards Hexian and his companions. Those streams of his spiritual energy were falling like rain with no chance to dodge. Seeing this, Hexian was not worried at all and calmly ordered his streams of spiritual energy to charge forward. Upon hearing the command, they swarmed forward like bees from a broken hive. All of them now rushed straight ahead and crashed into Diaoqi's technique, easily neutralizing it. He witnessed this scene, his mouth agape, frozen for 5 seconds, and exclaimed, "What kind of technique is this, completely shattered so perfectly?" Hexian, standing here, was also intently observing the fierce battle between the two techniques of both sides in the sky. His expression immediately turned to admiration when he saw that no technique could penetrate that defense, and he exclaimed, "This damn thing is truly a honky anti-aircraft missile defense system." Before he could finish thinking, Hexian, sitting opposite, spoke, "Old man, this time let's play a little trick. This king will sit still for you to hit. If I move 1 step, consider it my loss. How about it? A brat like you, if you can withstand 3 of this king's moves, it's not too late to show off later." Okay. As he finished speaking, he immediately summoned a Legui thunder demon from his formation. The demon species then immediately rushed towards the old man in front, raising its fist. Seeing this, the old man didn't even bother to move, frowned, and let out a heavy breath. Then he gently swung his hand, delivering a fatal blow to the demon's body. It immediately rolled over, vomited blood, and lay on the ground. Old Yan Wong then turned to look at the male lead and spoke disdainfully. "Is this the skill that makes you so arrogant?" He on this side, without any worry, smiled excitedly and replied, "It's not over yet." Just as Hexian finished speaking, the Legui behind him had already started to get up again as if nothing had happened. Old Yan Wong then also said nothing more and turned around, getting into a stance, ready to fight it. The Legui was now more ferocious than before, roaring as it rushed towards the old man. Old Yan Wong was no less quickly rushing forward, swinging his fist in an uppercut to the Legui's chin. Then he decisively threw another punch to its left cheek. Next, he threw a kick straight to the other side of the demon. When it fell to the ground, the old man became even more violent, continuously throwing dozens of punches all over the Legui's body. Finally, it was old Yan Wong's most excited stage. That was tearing the Legui's body in two. After defeating it, the old master's face became extremely excited as he turned to look at the male lead and said loudly, "Useless, I told you. You couldn't defend either." Sanyu and Wukong, standing on this side, hearing this, both looked at the old man with annoyance on their faces. Old Yan Wong then continued to speak boastfully. "Just this little bit of power is completely insufficient against me." Hexian, hearing this, didn't rush but smiled calmly and replied, "Oh, is that so?" Old Yan Wang, seeing his attitude, clearly showed his displeasure and thought to himself, "Damn it. Clearly a little brat who still smells of milk yet always puts on a high and mighty act. Today I will teach you what is called seniority and rules, naturally using your life to pay the price. Sorry in advance, you're old and haven't even hit anyone of mine yet. Don't stand there crowing." Just as he finished speaking, the Legui's corpse, which had been dismembered by old Yan Wang, suddenly recovered at a dizzying speed. Seeing this, the old man couldn't help but be astonished, his eyes wide as he thought, super speed regeneration. How is this possible? This is a super-level talent that only top-tier existences possess. Moreover, this guy is clearly just a summoned beast. At the same time, the other half of the dismembered body was also gradually recovering and sat up. Immediately after, the number increased to 2, both stepping towards old Yan Wang. Damn it, not only regeneration, but also splitting. I've never heard of this summoning talent. Which deity is this exactly? While the old man was still astonished, the male lead sitting opposite smiled smugly and spoke, Hey, I say. Making such an expression is very boring. Our game has just begun." "Good, very good. Then this king doesn't need to hide it anymore." As he finished speaking, the old man instantly unleashed all the true power suppressed within his body. Each layer of clothing on the old man's body was now torn apart by a different, more muscular form. Wukong, standing nearby, saw this, his face turning astonished as he thought, the quality of the oppressive aura has completely changed. Now old Yan Wang's entire body had transformed into a completely new appearance, with a third eye opened on his forehead. After successfully transforming, the old man let out a piercing roar. Accompanied by those roars were streams of his spiritual power rushing towards the Legui. Standing below, seeing this, it also began to raise its fist, which was covered in dark energy, and rushed towards those streams of spiritual power. The two streams of energy from both sides collided, creating shockwaves that radiated to the surrounding area. While the Legui was still struggling to block the spiritual power in front of it, old Yan Wang had instantly teleported behind it. Next, he raised his fist, his eyes wide, and rushed from behind the Legui. Then he immediately launched a flurry of punches, striking its body directly without missing a single one. But at this moment, the other Legui had also appeared from behind the old man, raising its fist high. Next, it swung down with all its might, while old Yan Wang no longer had a chance to defend. But the old man then turned his head, and just by using his gaze, he was able to block the Legui's entire hand. The others standing on this side, witnessing the scene, all gaped in astonishment and exclaimed, "Is this king that strong?" Turns out he was hiding such great power. The old man on this side had also thrown a final punch, sending the head of the remaining Ladian Thunder Lightning flying. Wukong, observing from beginning to end, couldn't help but be astonished, gritting his teeth and thinking. Completely different levels. Xuannu nearby also shared the same thought as him, looking at Yan Wong with a serious expression. The combined power of me and monkey is no match for him. At the same time, at the location of the headless legui flesh buds were gradually growing back. Seeing this, the old man's face showed a smug smile as he thought to himself, "Indeed, the recovery speed is quite slow. Ha 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 ha, I told you so. What thing is truly immortal? The situation with this thing is just like that. Although my Asura state doesn't last long, it's enough to kill the Zhaohuang beast and then kill its main body." Thinking of this, old Yan Wong rushed towards the recovering legui and said loudly, "While you're weak, I'll take your life." As he finished speaking, the old man immediately raised both arms, gritted his teeth, and began to swing down. But at this moment, the male lead's voice came from behind, stopping the old man. "Wait a moment." Hearing this, old Yan Wong also stopped and turned his head to look at him with an angry expression. "You want to admit defeat, but it's too late. No, I don't mean that. Old master, you've misunderstood. I just want to ask you, are you ready? Because I'm about to show off my might." Hearing this, the old man's face also became cautious as he stared at him. Wukong and Xuannu, standing nearby, their faces turned smug as they smiled and silently observed the situation. Returning to Xian's side, he continued to speak. "I ask you, what do you think of our summoned beast's strength? Is that all? This king only used half of his power, enough to kill all of you." Hearing this, a gleeful smile appeared on Xian's face as he continued, "Only half very good." Saying this, he raised his hand, creating giant lightning bolts that descended from the sky. "Come on, come at me." Old Yan Wong, hearing this, became furious and frantically rushed forward, trying to act mysterious to buy time or to launch a sneak attack. "Right, I won't let you have your way." As he ran a few more steps, he saw something and stopped in surprise. In front of him were the remnants left by the lightning bolts that had just struck. Then, seeing his expression, smiled smugly and said, "Don't be so tense, okay? It's just a pile of dirt pits." The old man on this side also didn't dare to act rashly, only gritting his teeth in anger. What on earth is this kid trying to do? While old Yan Wong was still surprised, Xian now began to raise one of his fingers to the sky. Then he created a formation that appeared on the ground. From within that formation, a polar bear stepped out, letting out a piercing roar. Its form was dozens of times larger than the male lead's transformed body. The polar bear then looked towards old Yan Wong and continued to roar. Seeing it, the old man was as docile as a puppy, sweating profusely, not daring to make another sound. Xian sat across from him with a smug expression and sharp eyes filled with murderous intent as he smiled and said, "How about it? Just a few parts of your power. Are you sure about that?" The only thought in old Yan Wang's mind now was one word: run. His fighting instincts over many years told him he was not on the same level as this monster. Once a fight started, he would die within 3 rounds. But at this moment, his legs could no longer hold firm and were trembling. "Can't even take half a step, damn it! What should I do now?" What to do now? Seeing the old man trembling before him, Xian calmly reassured him. "Don't be afraid, don't be afraid." After reassuring him, he continued to raise 2 of his fingers with a smug expression. "There's more." Hearing this, old Yan Wang was even more astonished, his eyes wide and blinking. "More? There's more? Hey, of course." As he finished speaking, the male lead immediately swung his arm behind him and shouted loudly, "Heavenly Seal activate." At this moment, at the position he pointed to, a golden formation appeared, shining brightly. A second later, from within that formation, an extremely powerful beam of light erupted, illuminating the entire sky. The people standing nearby witnessing this scene all gaped in astonishment, speechless. The power of the light beam grew stronger, causing the ground to sink deeper. A triumphant smirk was now clearly visible on Xian's face as he looked at old Yan Wang opposite him. Not long after, everyone present was once again gaping in astonishment, not believing their eyes. Before their eyes was a legendary golden dragon with blazing eyes letting out a roar. The male lead now also stood up along with the 2 beasts he had just summoned, looking towards the old man in front. The golden dragon, with a pair of blood-red eyes full of killing intent, stared at old Yan Wong as if wanting to eat him alive. Xian's 2 disciples, standing to one side, couldn't help but exclaim in awe, thinking, "Even though I was mentally prepared, I still got a fright. Master is too exaggerated. Compared to father, who is stronger." Yan Wong's subordinates on this side were still not over their shock and started talking amongst themselves. Five clawed. Golden dragon. Isn't this an ancient divine incantation that has been extinct for thousands of years? The great king is done for this time. The old man on this side had no words left, just stood there, frozen, crying silently in his heart. Xian on the opposite side now began to sit down, rummaging for something, and spoke. Calm down. There's more. It's just that this one needs props too." "Where is it? Let me find it." "You try to wait a bit." "Okay. Almost done." After searching for a while, he took out a fragment of something, holding it in his hand with a satisfied expression. Finally found it. This one. As he finished speaking, Xian became serious, clenched the fragment tightly and said loudly, "Ancestral seal open." Instantly, at a nearby location, a formation appeared, radiating an aura around it. From the sky, dark clouds were also swarming and descending with lightning bolts accompanied by an aura. Not long after, it formed a tornado with extremely strong winds sucking nearby things inside. After a while longer, that tornado had become a waterspout, sweeping away everything it passed. Xian, witnessing that sight, was also a little astonished, sweating profusely in awe. "Is this the peak of that insecure brat? I can't believe it." Everyone present now had turned to stone, staring at the scene before them with no emotion left. Wukong and Xuan Nu standing nearby were no exception, their eyes wide as they stammered, shine. This creature is. From behind the clouds in front of everyone was a giant eye staring straight down without blinking. The most panicked person now was none other than old Yan Wang witnessing the male lead and the three things he had summoned, all of which were things only seen in fairy tales. The gazes of all three creatures now also caught the old man's attention, and he didn't blink. The old man also didn't know what to do, but stand motionless looking at the three of them with a bewildered expression. Then he tried his best, but still couldn't lift his feet. Damn it, run quickly. Move damn legs. The old man's entire body was now trembling like a leaf, his face contorted in fear as he looked at the male lead's group. Then he quickly transformed back to normal and forced a smile, speaking, "Ha ha ha, I wonder which great lord from the heavens descended to the mortal world to provoke this humble one. Quickly retract your divine powers, sir, what can't fight anymore. How dare I, how dare I? If your excellency raises your hand, this humble one will vanish into thin air, ha 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 ha." Hearing this, Shen began to stand up, approached old Yan Wang and continued, "Then that's good. Now I ask you again, how does this king's strength compare to yours? How many parts this humble one was blind before and didn't recognize Mount Tai? I beg your excellency to be magnanimous and let me go like a fart. We not even your excellency's little finger. Ah, no. Can't even compare to your fingernail. As long as you wish this humble one will become your dog in the underworld. You can command me as you please. Quite good at flattering. Very good. Then if I tell you that this king also has a special ability to summon the bodies of others in the future, and the body I'm currently using is the future body of your son, how would you feel?" Hearing this, the old man was a little surprised. His face darkened, and he stood there stunned for a moment. Then, he burst out laughing and replied, "Ha ha ha, your excellency, you jest very well. That brat is just trash. How can he be even 1 or 2 10,000ths of you? Joking. Whether it's a joke or not, you know better than anyone in your heart. Right, father." Hearing the male lead call him that, the old man felt an oppressive aura weighing down on his body, gritted his teeth, and bowed his head. "Now do you feel the distance between you and the son you humiliated all day? Same age too. At that time were you even worthy to carry his shoes? Your excellency, your special trip to my underworld this time surely isn't just to humiliate me, right? Is there any enmity between us? Humiliate you? Are you worthy? This king's purpose in coming here is to take your son away. He's not like you. He's a true genius. Following an old waste like you will only drag him down. As for you, if you don't dare to fight, tuck your tail and scram, I'm not like you. Bullying the weak isn't interesting at all. The life of someone like you is truly pathetic." After hearing those words, old Yan Wang didn't dare say anything more. His face darkened as he clasped his hands and replied, "Understood, your excellency. I will scram." Saying that, the old man turned and left with a gloomy expression, having no face left. His subordinates and henchmen on this side, seeing this, showed no pity and cursed, "Serves you right. A person like you who only knows how to bully your subordinates all day. Why aren't you arrogant anymore? Go crazy again. Serves you right." At the same time, Yan Wang, standing nearby, watched the old man approach with a sad expression, his head bowed to the ground. Old Yan Wang's expression on this side was also the same, not daring to look up at his son. But then, the young Yan Wang mustered his courage, looked up at him, and asked, "Father, are you all right?" In response to his question was the old man's fury, shouting straight at his face, "Scram now. I don't need your pity." Saying this, old Yan Wang immediately swung his hand, throwing a punch, but the young man dodged it. No need. The corners of the old man's eyes then gradually filled with tears as he gritted his teeth and whimpered, "Isn't humiliating me like this enough for you, damn bastard?" Hearing this, Yan Wang also didn't know what else to say. His face darkened as he looked at the old man with a surprised expression. Old Yan Wang now continued to bring his face close to him and whispered, "From now on we are like strangers. Don't call me father anymore, damn it." As he finished speaking, the old man immediately turned and walked straight ahead, leaving behind his disowned son. Yan Wang, after hearing those words, felt an unspeakable sadness in his heart and bowed his head. The male lead now also approached him and asked curiously, "Why does he treat you like that? Is there some kindness? My father wasn't like this before. Although he was still arrogant and domineering, he still had a gentle side, unlike now. Really, I can't see it at all. He practiced swordsmanship with me, played chess leisurely with me, even traveled everywhere. Now thinking back, it all seems fake. If what you said is true, then how did things turn out like this? It's because something unexpected happened once. One day, father and mother went out on an excursion to celebrate my birthday, but unexpectedly they chanced upon a true god-level demon beast." Wukong and Guan Yu, hearing this, their faces turned astonished. Unexpectedly, there really is a god-level, although it's only a low-level god-level demon beast, it's still too strong. Father had to discard all the treasures on his body to barely get mother out of trouble. I was sleeping in the camp, so I avoided one calamity. When I woke up, I discovered mother had permanently left this world. From then on, everything changed after such an unexpected incident occurred. Father started to become violent and gloomy, cruel and bloodthirsty. He also started to be violent towards me. Then it became more and more serious, even developing into abuse. Father probably always considered me the one who caused the death of the person he loved most. So you endured this injustice because you felt guilty. Yan Wang, hearing this, quickly denied it and replied, "No. It's just that I feel if I lose father too, then in this world I'll truly be all alone. He Xian and his two disciples, after hearing his story, all sighed sadly. Yan Wong stood before the three and began to speak again. But now it doesn't matter anymore, the situation at hand. With father's personality, he absolutely wouldn't want any relationship with me anymore. So I don't need to hesitate either. It's time to leave. Let's look at the bigger world out there. Ting ting. Jin Guang quickly escaped the influence of his father. Potential value increased to 33%. Congratulations on completing the mission. The system then also rewarded him with a Peak Holy Fox Daji card. Holding that card in his hand, He Xian's mood was not happy looking at it, with complicated feelings. At the same time, on old Yan Wang's side, he was now sitting in front of his wife's grave. The old man looked at the tombstone with a sad expression and spoke Nian Nian. In the end, I still couldn't fulfill my promise to you. Returning to the scene of yesteryear, when Nian Nian was still barely breathing lying in front of Yan Wang, she now opened her eyes, looked at the old man and weakly called out, Damu, agree with me. Absolutely do not let Guang'er know the truth of this matter. Tell him a god-level demon beast suddenly appeared and killed me. Just as she finished speaking, she vomited blood and coughed painfully and continuously. Old Yan Wang, seeing this, whimpered, trying to hold back the tears streaming down his face, and replied, Don't say any more. Rest first. Lastly, I still want to tell you that meeting you is the greatest honor of my life. Agree with me to live happily on. Please don't hate Guang'er. See you in the next life. After saying that, Nian Nian also breathed her last, leaving Damu in extreme pain, screaming in a voice that blended with the thunder in the sky. Returning to the present, he was still sitting looking at Nian Nian's tombstone and continued to speak. Perhaps that great power can deal with the monster inside it. But it no longer has anything to do with me. I listened to you and didn't let him know the truth, but I really can't not hate him. And I will hate him forever. Curse him because he took your life. Saying this, Damu leaned back, lying on his back, looking at the clear blue sky before him. In this life, if it were always just the two of us, how wonderful it would be. The scene changes to a place called the Human Realm Immortal Hand Cliff. On top of the cliff is a coffin radiating an aura. Immediately after that, aura erupted violently, pushing back the people standing around. All of them, seeing this, were a little astonished, and quickly said loudly, it's here, it's finally almost here. The great lord who was once the 10th in the heavenly palace. At the same time, the coffin was shattered into pieces from within by a force scattering everywhere. At this moment, the little demon, the inside, had also appeared with a smug smile on its face. Another guy standing nearby was also very excited and laughed loudly. Ha ha ha, success, success, I didn't expect it to really succeed, ha ha, great elder. It was us who revived you. As soon as he finished speaking, the sword auras slashed out by that demon immediately dismembered all of them. After killing them all, the demon's face became excited, its eyes bloodshot as it spoke. Long time no see, fresh and delicious blood is here, come on, let this old man slaughter the world once more, let blood flow like a river. But then again, my best resurrection spot in the underworld was destroyed by others, those damn bastards. This old man remembers all your auras. Now this old man will find you and chop you into pieces first. At the same time, snakes appeared behind him, along with a voice. Hey old man, aren't you ashamed of talking to yourself? Hearing this, he turned around with a surprised expression. In front of him was the scout Maid Suo sitting on a rock, happily raising her hand to greet him. Seeing this, the demon raised one of his fingers to gather spiritual power. Did I let a fish slip through the net just now? Before the spiritual power in his hand had fully gathered, Maid Suo had already appeared in front of him with a smug smile on her face. Witnessing that scene, the demon couldn't help but exclaim in amazement. So fast soon, after Maid Suo appeared again from behind him and spoke, fast, isn't it? Here again. Sensing her power, the demon hurriedly rushed back to maintain a certain distance. Next, he raised a hand and gradually gathered a ball of his spiritual power. Not long after, his ball became super huge and showed signs of getting even bigger. Maid Suo stood on this side, unafraid, smiling as she raised two fingers and aimed precisely at the demon in front of her. Immediately after, she shot out a blast of energy that flew over and left a large hole in him. The orb behind him was then easily destroyed with just one blow from her. Witnessing this, the demon was so astonished his jaw dropped, secretly thinking he couldn't believe his eyes. What's going on? What trick is she playing? Although my strength hasn't fully recovered, this bitch is absurdly strong. I've never even heard her name. Maid Suo, still smiling, stood on this side, flicked a finger down and continued. The people of this world are surprisingly weak. As soon as she finished speaking, the demon's other arm immediately broke off as well. Not stopping there, Maid Suo continued to hold out her entire hand in front of the demon, causing him to be so terrified he couldn't even speak before he could regain his senses. A sinister smile appeared on her face as she glared and leisurely continued, the weak don't deserve to live in this world, you know. Next, it was no surprise that the demon's body was covered in large holes created by Maid Suo's previous attack. He instantly took the opportunity to vanish into thin air, leaving her standing there alone. Seeing this, Maid Suo could only sigh in frustration and complain. He got away again. I can't fight these brats in this world. He runs really fast. I didn't even get to use my ultimate move. As she said this, an extremely powerful stream of spiritual energy appeared in the sky and struck down right where the demon had been standing. It's truly a pity. At this moment, Maid Suo sensed something and narrowed her eyes in surprise. Unexpectedly, I can sense the aura of another descended one here. Let me see which colleague it is. The The person who appeared in the dimension she created was none other than our protagonist, advancing with his disciples. Seeing this, Maid Suo's face became excited and she burst out laughing. Ha ha ha, I didn't expect it to be a senior. This is great. I'll go meet with you then. After saying that, Maid Suo didn't hesitate and leaped into the sky, rushing towards the protagonist's group. Returning to their side, Hishan had stopped in front of a large cliff, staring intently at it. The three disciples standing behind were also eagerly observing his every move. Hishan on this side had begun to raise his arm, which was enveloped in a stream of true ki, and then swung his hand, shooting a stream of spiritual power towards the cliff. That stream of spiritual power shot straight into the cliff, creating a large explosion that shook the surrounding area. When the smoke gradually dispersed, it revealed a large, not too deep dent in the cliff. Wukong saw this and was so surprised his jaw dropped, unable to believe his eyes. This power is a bit ordinary. The other two disciples also shared the same sentiment and remained silent. Just when they thought it was over, at this very moment, the claws of a beast began to emerge from the hole and set down on the ground. Soon after, the shape of that beast also appeared, along with an extremely powerful aura emanating outwards. Zhuan Envy, witnessing this scene, was once again astonished, her eyes wide, but a few seconds later, the beast gradually dissipated quickly, disappearing neatly without a trace. Seeing this, Wukong's face darkened, and he spoke up. Although the spiritual power is only at the late stage of foundation establishment, its strength is also ordinary. But what was that terrifying ancient aura in the stone cave just now? Saying this, he turned to look at Qinguang beside him, puzzled. You also sensed that ancient aura just now, right? I saw it. Indeed, my perception wasn't wrong. What was that? Some kind of summoning technique. Qinguang, standing in front, heard this and quickly denied it. Definitely not. Its aura is completely different from a summoned beast. Not a summoned beast? Then what is it? I don't know either. After saying that, both of them continued to look at the back of the protagonist in front of them, observing. After Hishan used the peak card for the third time, his body could naturally release power. Moreover, the familiar feeling grew stronger. Every part of his flesh seemed to faintly tell him that it originally belonged to him, but that wasn't right. I clearly transmigrated here, on Earth. I was truly just a university student who suddenly dropped dead. Could it be the hosts? But that's not quite right either. I clearly didn't inherit the original owner's memories, so how could I inherit the strength? Can't explain it, completely unexplainable. Furthermore, after each time this body releases power, what's with that aura that gives people goosebumps? At the same time, Wukong, standing behind, couldn't hide his curiosity and voiced his question. Master, what was that ancient aura just now? Hishan heard this and turned his head to look at him, replying with a mysterious expression. This can't say. You guys will have to comprehend it yourselves later. Oh, so that's it. This is a lesson from Master. I must learn quickly. After thinking, Wukong bowed 90 degrees to thank Master for his guidance. Hishan then turned in another direction, stroking his chin and thinking to himself, if no one has any information, there's no need to think too much about it now. Wait until I use the card a few more times, the truth will naturally become clearer and clearer. So the urgent matter is still to quickly complete the mission to get the peak card, but before that I have a pretty good idea. After thinking, he turned his head to look at Zhuan Envy and said, Zhuan Envy, disciple, come here for a bit. Hearing that, she also started to approach, asking puzzledly, what is it, Master? The protagonist then leaned close to her ear and whispered softly, listen to me, blah blah blah. After saying that, Hishan asked again in front of her flustered and worried expression, what do you have it? If I have it, I still have it. It's okay, just listen to me like this, like that. Yes, sir. The two young men standing on this side were looking towards the two of them, curiously talking to each other. What are Master and Zhuan Envy talking about? I don't know. After a while, Hishan started to turn to look at the two of them and spoke. As your master, I ask you, who do you two think is better? Hearing this, both of them looked bewildered and asked back, who is better? That's right. Zhuan Envy and I have discussed it a bit. Whoever is stronger between the two of you will become the senior disciple. Hearing this, Wukong put his hands on his hips and replied confidently, need you even ask? It's definitely me, old son. Who else could it be? As for Qinguang standing beside him, he was the complete opposite, waving his hand in refusal. Senior disciple, I definitely can't do it. Just relying on words won't do. The senior disciple must have the strongest martial power, so I need you two to try a bit. Yan Wong, didn't you say before that you wanted to become my disciple? Ah yes, master, is the most formidable expert I have ever met. Following you, I will definitely learn many things. Then don't say any more, deal with it with all your might. If you lose, I won't accept you as my disciple anymore. Wukong immediately jumped back a distance. Then he looked at Qinguang with an excited expression and spoke. A fair competition is coming. As soon as he finished speaking, he rushed forward and started the combat first. While Qinguang was still surprised, he kicked the guy in the stomach. Qinguang then regained his focus and extended his hand to use the Four Kings Beast summoning. Number 2. Wukong on the opposite side also continued to rush forward, raising his fist and shouting, I won't let you finish chanting. As soon as he finished speaking, he launched a series of punches at Qinguang's body, causing him to be unable to dodge and take the full brunt of the attack. At the same time, a flash of light appeared from behind Wukong, causing him to sense it and stop his attack. Then he dodged to the side, avoiding a blow from that flash of light. Because he had lost momentum, Wukong then landed on the ground below and retreated a few steps. At this time, the Molong had also been summoned by Qinguang, roaring piercingly in front of Wukong. Seeing this, he couldn't help but exclaim in amazement. Has it reached the level where it can be summoned without casting a spell? Qin Guang on this side continued to extend his hand and perform another Four Kings Beast summoning move. Number 4, immediately a Zhuan Wu with a giant form also appeared in front of him, roaring a few times. Seeing this, Wukong became dejected and sighed. The turtle monster has appeared again. Saying this, he became determined and opened his firm eyes wide. But this time, little master, I won't spare you either. At the same time, the Mo Long was rushing down from the sky towards Wukong, opening its mouth wide. Wukong at this time also began to lower his body, gradually creating energy orbs around himself. Next, he jumped into the air and threw a straight punch into the Mo Long's mouth, emitting an extremely powerful stream of energy. Taking that extremely powerful punch, it didn't even have time to yawn before it was instantly blown away. Qin Guang, witnessing this scene, couldn't help but be amazed and thought to himself, just one punch defeated Mo Long? Xian, standing on this side, was also looking at Wukong with a serious expression, realizing something. Indeed, the monkey with the enhanced barrier power. He is no longer an opponent that either Zhuan Envy or Yan Wong can easily deal with. But what if both of them attack together? Haha, poor Wukong. Why does it feel like throughout the whole journey only he is sent out to fight? After thinking, he turned to look at Zhuan Envy standing behind him and spoke. Zhuan Envy, disciple, you can go into battle now. Yes, master, I'm all prepared. Hey, speak softly or those two will know. Understood, master. As soon as she finished speaking, Zhuan Envy brought her face close to a bird made of spiritual power in her hand and whispered, You hear that? Just be careful. After saying that, she raised her arm high and ordered it to fly away. The bird she created is a magical artifact, the divine bird of the father. It then easily burrowed into the turtle shell. Wukong, facing his previous obstacle, was punching his fists together, gritting his teeth and speaking. I admit, the turtle shell was indeed very troublesome before, but it's not like that anymore. These 3 realm boundary orbs are the greatest respect I can show you. You can't win. As soon as he finished speaking, Wukong threw 3 realm boundary orbs, which rushed forward at a dizzying speed. The two of them then could only look at those 3 realm boundary orbs, anxiously waiting to see the result. At this moment, the 3 realm boundary orbs collided with the turtle shell, creating a large explosion in the sky. Ha, you lost. You definitely can't withstand this move. After the explosion ended, it revealed the Xuan Wu still intact, without any damage, standing tall in front of Wukong. Seeing this, he was so astonished his jaw dropped and he exclaimed, Hey, what's going on? Why isn't it injured at all? That's not right. I clearly tried to attack it before. I knew in my heart that 3 destructive orbs were more than enough. There's only one possibility this guy is still hiding his true strength. Damn it, now, there are only 4 left. Even if I break the shield, he still has 2 divine beasts, so it's useless. Damn it, I underestimated the enemy. After thinking, Wukong gave up and turned towards the 2 protagonists standing below. Seeing this, he also felt a bit curious and thought to himself, things have come to this. With the monkey's intelligence, he must have assessed the situation. He wouldn't do anything stupid now, would he? Wukong up here was clenching his palms so tightly that his veins bulged. I'm really not resigned, but I admit I lost. At this point, Wukong's entire body trembled. Xuan Envy, standing below, saw this and spoke with some concern. Master, is the monkey all right? Don't worry, he's the great sage equaling heaven. The more disappointed he is, the more courage he'll have. Just as he said. Wukong's expression became excited again, and he frowned and spoke. It's getting more and more interesting. Ha. See? Look. Master truly has a keen eye for people. Wukong at this time turned around and pointed at Qin Guang, speaking. Kid, listen carefully to what old son says. The position of senior disciple will temporarily be yours. One day old son will take it back with his own hands and wash away today's shame. In the future, I will defeat you in the field you are best at. At this point, Wukong had summoned a supergiant dragon in his hand. Xuan Envy, witnessing this scene, was so astonished, her jaw dropped, and she exclaimed, No way! And our protagonist standing on this side was stunned with an expressionless face. Then his emotions burst out and he shouted angrily, Damn it, you kid learned to summon beasts. Isn't this a bloodline talent? Damn it, you have Sharingan, right, Kakashi? Perhaps it was innately talented in summoning, it just hadn't been activated. Very good. You can take the protagonist position of this manhwa. I won't fight you for it. At the same time, the system panel also displayed a notification. Congratulations to the Monkey King for encountering an obstacle. The greater the disappointment, the more the potential value increases by 5%. Yan Wong received great encouragement. Potential value increased by 5%. Seeing this, Xian's face became smug and he thought to himself, Aha, indeed, just as predicted. Not long before, when he called Xuan Er to his place, the words Xian whispered into her ear were, Does that super powerful old father of yours give you props that can assist others? I do, but what does master want to do? It's like this. The monkey is naturally quite bold. Since learning the power of the realm, he usually refuses to cultivate. Yan Wong's inferiority complex, although half of it is to go along with his father, the other half is genuine. So I think if Yan Wong can defeat the monkey, it might benefit both of them. Master's words seem to make sense. Just do as master says. Returning to the present, he glanced at Zhuan Nvi with a smug expression and spoke, So am I right? Right. Both of them were happy at this moment and high-fived each other to celebrate their victory. Xian then turned to look at the 2 young men in the sky and continued. All right, if victory and defeat have been decided, retract your divine powers and come down. We have to go to the next destination. At the same time, the scout Maid Suo had also arrived, a sinister smile on her face as she spoke. Senior, are you playing with this trash to relieve boredom? If that's the case, then I'll join in too. As soon as she finished speaking, she immediately glided past Qinguang's Xuanwu and gently cut it in half. All four of Hexian's master and disciples, witnessing this scene, were astonished and stood, stunned for a moment. The Xuanwu then gradually dissipated before everyone's stunned eyes. Xuan Envy, has your support artifact lost its effect? Not yet. Then we're in big trouble. Just one confrontation. Hexian's sixth sense immediately told him about this enemy in front of him. No opponent he had encountered before could compare. He even felt that even if he used the peak card and finally won, it would be roughly very tragic. But at such a critical moment, his body at this moment was uncontrollably trembling with excitement. Is it because of the peak card? Could it be that even his personality is changing? Damn it. Is this still my Hexian? Maid Suo, standing on this side, saw the expressions of the four protagonists and spoke with a bit of sadness. Senior, what's wrong with you? The whole family is having fun, so I can understand if you hate me for bothering you, but what's with this hostility and the aura of the other half of this body? The protagonist heard her say that and didn't understand anything, his mind full of question marks. Maid Suo, facing him, put her hands on her hips and continued. Up close, I indeed feel that you seem to be a person of this world already, but the remaining half of the aura clearly belongs to a high-level person from our west. How strange. Can you answer my question, senior? Hearing this, Hexian stood stunned, thinking to himself in amazement. She said it's the west, and her appearance. Could it be here already? Isn't it a bit too early? Moreover, she said I have the aura of the west. Could it be those wings on my back? At this moment, Maid Suo, standing opposite the protagonist, was also stroking her chin and thinking to herself, the more I look at this guy, the more he looks like a native of this world. No, I have to test him. Fighting will naturally reveal the nature of his energy. Thinking of this, Maid Suo began to raise her arm and gather a stream of spiritual power. Next, she swung her palm, sending that stream of spiritual power towards Hexian. At the same time, she also created a cube around him, enclosing him inside. Wukong and Xuan Envy, seeing this, both became flustered and worried, shouting in unison, Master, be careful. When Maid Suo's energy blast rushed over, it was blocked by the cube surrounding Hexian's body, and nothing happened. He, standing inside, was still warily looking at the cube above his head. Maid Suo on the outside showed no movement and was still staring intently at the protagonist standing in front of her. Then she gave a sinister smile and continued to speak. I believe Senior will definitely forgive this junior's caution. This person seems to be misunderstanding me as their accomplice. If I make a move at this moment, I will be immediately exposed. Moreover, do I have to waste a peak card to deal with this guy? What about the mission? Maid Suo stood in front of him with a dangerous expression, urging him. Senior, if you don't quickly break the barrier, the air will disappear immediately. At the same time, Wukong and Xuan Envy on this side could no longer stand still and began to rush forward with a stream of spiritual power gathering in their hands. Then they simultaneously punched the cube, causing a large explosion that lit up the entire area. When the smoke gradually dispersed, it revealed the cube still intact, even though the ground around it had cracked and broken. Seeing this, Wukong couldn't help but exclaim in amazement. Damn it, no way, it's even harder than Yan Wong's turtle shell. Hexian at this time had begun to take out the peak card in his hand. The monkey and Xuan Envy can't be this guy's opponents. There's no other way. There's only one way. As soon as he finished speaking, he immediately held up the peak card, Holy Fox Daji, with a determined gaze. That card at this moment was also emitting waves of shock from the inside out. Maid Suo also sensed it and became excited, continuing, Come on. As soon as she finished speaking, suddenly an orb appeared in the sky, along with dark clouds around it. The three protagonists, seeing this, were a bit surprised and became vigilant. What's wrong with the sky? That orb at this time had begun to glow and was emitting lightning bolts around it. Maid Suo on this side also sensed its aura and stood stunned, her eyes wide. Just as she turned her head, a giant hand emerged from inside the orb and rushed down quickly. Witnessing this scene, Maid Suo was once again astonished. Her face darkened, and she gritted her teeth and exclaimed, What the hell is this? Immediately, that giant hand grabbed her easily without any extra movements. She lay in that palm like a tiny ant, helplessly gritting her teeth, unable to do anything. Then she used all her strength to open her mouth wide and scream, Damn it, I can't escape. Along with Maid Suo's screams, another voice echoed down from the sky, I've come to buy you some time. Hurry and recover your strength. Hexian, standing below, heard this, and was so astonished his jaw dropped, unable to believe his eyes. With that said, the giant hand also disappeared from the sky, returning it to its original clear blue. And it left Hexian and his three disciples still bewildered, not understanding what had happened. He then quickly turned to look at the disciples behind him and asked puzzledly, What did those words just now mean? Words, was there any sound? I only saw a large hand take that snake demon away. It must be some top-level big shot from the heavenly palace. I didn't hear anyone say anything either. After hearing those words, Hexian's face became astonished, and he thought to himself, Didn't hear it? Then it was clearly meant for me to hear. Quickly recover strength. What earth-shattering secret is hidden in this body after all? Who am I after all? Where did I come from? My head hurts. I have to speed up the progress quickly. Only by unlocking the Heavenly Palace card can I clarify everything. After thinking, he turned his back and left, calling his three disciples. Let's go quickly, we're going to the next location. In this current situation, thinking too much won't help. Oh right, I forgot. I haven't checked this prop yet. Previously, it reminded me that there wasn't enough energy, and it needed a certain amount of time to absorb the energy of heaven and earth. It should be almost enough now. Thinking of this, Xian didn't hesitate and activated it, creating a formation at his feet. Immediately, that formation appeared, revealing a gate with another dimension inside. Seeing this, he was also a bit surprised and puzzled. What is this? A door. The system at this time also displayed a notification. The user of the king's mask will have the qualification to open the king's door. In the king's space, those who enter will have infinite resurrection ability and infinite energy. There are 108 small worlds inside, including all different types. The strongest king, as well as countless small monsters, powerful bosses. Infinite small monsters, infinite stamina, infinite recovery. This is the super fast experience instance, the noble experience of VIP 10. Is the DLC really that good? But currently, every time I use the peak card, I get stronger even faster than this. Clearly the benefits are still higher than this. Damn it. How can I waste this perverted prop? Thinking of this, he realized something and paused. Wait. If I don't use it, I can let my disciples use it. Saying it like that is indeed like playing a game and opening an auto-grinding system. Oh my god. Are we going to auto-grind this time? No more ruthless. Directly complete the trial round for me. Although the system likes to play with me, it has never truly harmed me. So they probably aren't too dangerous. The system had also reminded me before. If a disciple increases by 60%, there will be a new reward. After thinking, Xian began to look at the three people in front of him and asked, Hey, do you guys trust Master? Hearing this, all three of them, as expected, replied in unison. Of course we believe you. Good, very good. Currently, there is a heavenly opportunity right before your eyes. Inside, there are countless of the strongest demon kings for you to train with and pass through. Moreover, in there you will have infinite stamina and infinite recovery ability. In other words, it's hard for martial artists to find a life and death battle in their entire lives. Inside it, it becomes as common as daily meals. After hearing this, all three of them looked astonished, half believing and half doubting, and spoke, Infinite recovery. The strongest demon king. As for whether you dare to enter or not, let's see your courage and judgment. Wukong at this time had begun to warm up his limbs and replied with a smug expression. Wealth and honor have always been sought in danger. What is there that old son wouldn't dare? If I have chosen to become a disciple, I will trust Master unconditionally. I'll go in too. If a strong person like you wanted to harm us, you wouldn't need this kind of trick. I'll go in too. Very good. Then let me see what your limits are. Wait until you come out of seclusion. Looking forward to you all, a rebirth through molting? After hearing this, the three disciples also clasped their hands, smiled, and replied in unison, We accept Master's blessings. As soon as they finished speaking, all three of them turned around and went straight inside the king's door. Xian, standing behind, watched the backs of the three people with an eager and curious smile. When they come out, I wonder how strong they will become. I'm really looking forward to it. Keep it up. Whether this world can be saved depends on you. I also have to quickly set off to complete the mission. Lately, I feel more and more motivated. Is this still my Xian? At the same time, in the mortal city of Tai'an. Inside the city lord's mansion at this time, a man and a woman were bowing their heads and kneeling down with dejected expressions. Lord City Lord, you must bring justice to this little girl. This beast not only violated my body, but also seized the only property my father left me. Lord City Lord, please don't listen to her slander. She's slandering me because I abandoned her, so she came here for revenge. That garden was sold to me by her father when he was alive. I have the papers. Those papers were forged by him. Your lordship, please investigate. The lord sitting in front of them was the young Naja, smacking his lips in reply. It's really complicated. Everyone has a point. Who should I listen to after all? Lord City Lord, every word I say is true. If I lie, may I be struck by lightning. What I said is the truth, your lordship. A sinister smile appeared on Naja's face at that time as he continued. It's better this way, you name your price. Whoever gives more money, I'll rule that person is telling the truth, okay? Hearing this, the girl's face turned astonished as she looked at the lord opposite her with disbelief. An attendant walking beside Naja at this time also urged, What are you still standing there dazed for? Are you deaf? Hurry and name your price. All the remaining money I have for a year has been sent to pay taxes. Taxes have increased too much. It's lucky enough not to starve to death, let alone have any money. Hearing this, that attendant immediately became angry and shouted loudly, Insolent commoner! Are you blaming the city lord? You've got some nerve, you don't dare, huh? You don't dare. Even if I borrowed 100 livers, I wouldn't dare. Naja, sitting on this side, also turned to look at that person waving his hand and speaking, Hey, you have to be a good city lord. You shouldn't be so fierce with my people. If there's no money, then I have a proposal. If you become my concubine for a month, then I'll rule that you won today's lawsuit, okay? Hearing this, the girl's face flushed red, and she stood stunned for a moment, speechless. Seeing her expression, Naja couldn't help but hold his stomach and laugh loudly. Ha ha ha! Do you really think this great master would be interested in a village woman like you? Ha ha ha! It's hilarious. Being teased like that, the girl couldn't help but feel ashamed and turned her face away, tears welling up in her eyes. The scene changes to a red-haired kid with his hands on his hips, fiery eyes, and an excited smile speaking loudly. Sooner or later, there will be a day when I let this title resound throughout the world. Just you wait. As soon as that kid finished speaking, the people sitting and eating in front of him turned to look at him with a judgmental gaze, remaining silent. The man standing next to him felt embarrassed for him and spoke softly. Little counter chief, don't say any more, it's a bit embarrassing. What's there to be embarrassed about? If you have a dream and don't even dare to speak it, how can you achieve it? In the future, I will announce it once every day to many people in the shop. Speaking frankly is my way. Hijian, who was also eating nearby, glanced at him and interjected. That's really embarrassing, let me interrupt a bit. On my way here I saw a cultivation sect in the outskirts. Why don't you go join them? Talking here every day is useless. Hearing the protagonist say that, the red-haired guy turned to look at him with an annoyed expression. Then he approached his dining table, looked closely at his face, and spoke. This guest looks so unfamiliar. You're not a local, are you? Hearing the question, Hijian didn't hide anything, crossed his arms, smiled, and replied, That's right. I'm a traveler passing through, so if you don't understand the situation, don't give others bad advice. Don't talk nonsense. What does a wanderer like you know about how difficult cultivation is? A normal outer sect disciple's listed price is 300 taels. My father left me this tavern also for only 300 taels. So isn't that just enough? Just enough, my ass. I need to live. Don't I need to spend money? When I go to the sect, am I supposed to live like a poor person? What's more, even if I have enough silver, I have no connections in the sect, no backing. Without a guide, it's definitely a difficult step to take. The damn cultivation sect is definitely as dark as this old city. But no matter what, sooner or later I'll figure out a way to become stronger at the peak of the cultivation world. The protagonist listened to him rambling on and on, his expression showing no surprise, still dazed. Seeing this, the red-haired guy's face also became astonished. His jaw dropped as he stared at him. Then he became angry and shouted, spitting saliva. What kind of expression is that? Are you looking down on me? Do you not believe I can become a great figure? Damn it. What right does a wanderer like you have to look down on me? What the hell are you? Hey, I didn't say anything. Too sensitive, right? Stop wasting words. Your expression says it all. Saying this, he turned around to look at his accomplice and ordered Big Guy. Teach him a lesson from me, little counter-chief. That's not very good. Stop wasting words. If I tell you to fight, then fight. I'll take all responsibility. All right. Offending young Master Dong without eyes, consider yourself unlucky. Hearing this, the protagonist showed no reaction, rested his chin on his hand, and glanced at him with a bored expression. Just as the big guy was about to make a move, the outer door was suddenly blasted inwards by an extremely strong force. Following it was a scarred-faced man looking inside with a sinister chuckle, saying, Your family's protection fee seems to be 2 months late, right? Hearing that voice, the big guy immediately recognized who it was and broke out in a cold sweat, not daring to turn his head. What's wrong? Are you planning to refuse to pay? Want to fight fire with fire against us, brothers? At this moment, the red-haired guy standing nearby began to laugh awkwardly and replied, Ayo, isn't this big brother Kuya of the Erlong gang? It's not that I won't pay. You also know that damn city lord collects taxes that are really too high. Next month, I will definitely pay in full. Hearing the reasons he gave, Kuya's face darkened as he stepped towards him. Then he raised his fist high in front of the other guy's fear and continued, Hey, let me tell you. At this point, he immediately swung his hand and punched the red-haired guy straight in the face. He took the full force of that punch and was sent flying, falling heavily to the ground, with a pained expression, letting out a sharp cry. The other guy standing nearby saw this, his face becoming even more frightened, trembling and stammering. Young counter-chief, Kuya. At this time, looked down disdainfully at the red-haired guy at his feet, and continued. Are all your family members dead? Letting a brat talk to me, what are you being arrogant about? Isn't it just because you have a gang backing you? Wait until I can cultivate in the future, I will definitely beat all of you to a pulp. Hearing this, Kuya reached out and grabbed his neck, replying. Later. Then I'm afraid you won't have a chance. Our brothers are here today to send you to see Yan Wong. At the same time, on the protagonist's side, the system panel displayed a notification. It was detected that the red-haired young man has a special talent. Upgrading potential will earn rewards beyond the DLC level. Seeing this made him glance at the red-haired guy in surprise, puzzled. Special talent. A mortal can actually interest the system. Thinking of this, Hijian began to stand up, his bloodshot eyes full of killing intent, gradually advancing towards Kuya. Anyway, the last DLC was indeed too good. After thinking, he slowly opened his mouth and spoke softly. Hey! Just as he said 2 words, Hijian immediately rushed over, grabbed his head and slammed it to the ground. So embarrassing. The only way is to wrong you. The entire tavern also cracked and shattered into pieces with a loud noise. After an earthquake from behind the thick smoke, Kuya lay motionless on the rubble. The entire tavern at this time had also been more than 80% damaged, with only the walls still swaying, not yet collapsed. The protagonist saw the consequences he caused, his face turned pale, and he broke out in a cold sweat, thinking to himself, oh crap, I overdid it again. This time it's over. There's nothing left to lose. After thinking, he approached the red-haired guy, sat down and spoke. It's really embarrassing. I don't have experience, so I didn't control my strength well. I'll compensate according to the price. He then stared at him with a flustered expression and quickly replied, No need, Lord Immortal Elder. I am very honored that you destroyed my house. How dare I ask for compensation? Previously, this humble one did not know the Immortal Elder's identity and offended you greatly. A crime deserving 10,000 deaths. At this point, he swung his hand and repeatedly slapped his own face along with sounds of deserving death. Seeing this, Hijian could only chuckle and think to himself, are cultivators in the mortal world respected like this? Is this the arrogant and unruly kid from just now? All right, hurry and get up. I still have something to ask you. Hearing him say that, he didn't hesitate, and immediately sat up straight, obediently listening. Now tell me what happened with that damn city lord you guys were talking about. After asking, Hishan turned his head to look at the mission in the system panel and thought to himself. The system reminds that the target is in the city lord's mansion. It's very likely the city lord they were talking about. After thinking, he continued to ask. From your tone earlier, it seems he's a bad person reporting to the immortal elder. It is like that now, but it wasn't before. 2 years ago, our city of Tai'an, under his rule, had abundant conditions and a stable society. The people were wealthy and happy. Since the beginning of this year, I don't know why he suddenly became numb and dull. Although he didn't commit major evil deeds, he was indifferent and didn't care about the suffering of the people, even disregarding their lives. He increased taxes heavily just for his own enjoyment, making the lives of the city's people worse and worse, causing them to start complaining and lamenting. People even suspected that he was controlled by some evil spirit. Hearing this, Hishan couldn't help but be surprised and asked again. Evil spirit, if not, how could such a big change happen? It's impossible to explain. That's right too. Oh, immortal elder. We venture to ask a question. Are you inquiring about the city lord, with the intention of eliminating the threat to the people? Hishan was simply doing his mission, but hearing this, he became delighted, rubbed his head and replied, of course, eliminating villains for the people is an undeniable responsibility. Worthy of being an immortal elder, truly righteous. But I advise you 10,000 times not to do so. Why? Don't you really hate that city lord? He is indeed very hateful, but that city lord is not as simple as you think. Oh, go on. The city lord, he is also an immortal. Previously, he carelessly offended someone outside the city sect. He was beaten half to death by him. But unexpectedly, the opponent was the leading young master of the sect, leading to over 100 cultivators coming to seek revenge. But guess what? All the sects were beaten by him until they wet their pants. Hearing this, the protagonist immediately realized who it was and thought to himself, it's definitely Naja. There's no way back. That's not all. That sect, I don't know what trick they used. But they invited a true immortal from the heavenly palace to help. But that immortal, seeing our city lord, kowtowed and knelt down. I know you immortal fairy definitely don't believe me, but I saw this with my own eyes. Ha 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 ha. How could I not believe it? Who would dare not to kneel before the son of Yan Wong? But that's not right. Why did he come to this mortal city to be the city lord? Moreover, what demon would dare to possess him? Without thinking much, he immediately stood up, pointed forward and spoke. All right, I know. Let's go. You lead the way to the city lord's mansion. What immortal elder? Didn't you hear me just now? That city lord is an existence that even the gods in heaven can't mess with. Hearing this, Hishan, unafraid, turned his head to look at him and replied, the person I'm looking for is him, and he's busy accepting disciples. Hearing that, the counter-chief was extremely surprised, his eyes wide. Accepting disciples? Am I meeting a true great master? Immediately after, he quickly chased after the protagonist in joy. Come on, I'll take you there. After moving for a while, Hishan's group arrived at a magnificent, splendid, and luxurious city. The red-haired kid then also eagerly introduced himself. Immortal elder, my name is Lu Shiyi. You can call me Ah Yi. Hearing this, the protagonist replied indifferently, not interested in knowing. Just lead the way for me. Hearing this, Ah Yi eagerly ran to the front and shouted, don't be so cold. I know a great figure like you must have long since decisively cut off all worldly desires. But that's so boring. Immortal elder, you must have come from some famous cultivation sect, right? It must be so. Your background really makes people admire you. You could enter the immortal path since childhood. Those of us from the lowest class are not as lucky as you. Our parents are just ordinary small merchants. Wanting to cultivate is truly impossible. Hearing these words, Hishan frowned in annoyance and spoke. Hey, are you listening to me? I said I'm not interested. Born in a bad place and then met this useless city lord. Everyone says that my fate is decided by me, not by heaven. But for people from the same low class as us, what choice do we have? The class barrier was long ago crushed to death by the upper class. Hearing this, the protagonist put his hand on his forehead, angrily gritting his teeth. Enduring it, he's still a child. His vision, network of relationships and way of thinking are all far inferior. But before he could calm down for 3 seconds, Ah Yi spoke again, making Hishan's blood boil and his face turn green with anger. Other people's starting line is even our finish line. Sometimes we can never even reach it. First fate, second luck, third feng shui. Ranking fate first is not without reason. Before he could finish speaking, the protagonist angrily kicked the stone, repeatedly causing him to sit down on the ground in fear. I said I'm not interested. Are you deaf or something? Seeing that scene, Ah Yi was so scared, he broke out in a cold sweat and shouted with his mouth wide open, I know, I'll shut up. With that said, Hishan's group continued to advance. But after walking for a while, Ah Yi spoke up again and asked, Immortal elder, do you really not want to chat? Mortal life might help you achieve enlightenment and breakthroughs in cultivation. As soon as those words were finished, the protagonist angrily held his head and shouted loudly, oh my god, why did I pick up such a talkative monster? It's truly the complete opposite of Xuan Envy. The scene changes to the schoolyard behind the majestic and large city lord's mansion. At this moment, a beast with a burly body and gleaming eyes was standing opposite a small boy in green. A moment later, it fixed its murderous gaze on Naja and growled, Little Naja, your father sent you to the mortal world to train, not to be a meritorious official. Hearing this, Naja showed a disdainful expression and snorted coldly. That's what those commoners deserve to endure. Upon hearing those words, it became enraged, its entire body emitting waves of killing intent. Commoners, previously, although you were arrogant, you wouldn't say such things. If I weren't standing in front of you right now, I would really suspect you were possessed by some evil spirit. Hearing this, Naja clenched his fists and asked coldly, Master Hu, since when did you become so talkative? What exactly are you doing down here? Are you following my father's orders to bring me back? Facing his question, it replied seriously, It's nothing much, just that the Heavenly King sent me to wake you up. Hearing this, Naja fixed his sharp gaze on it, a thrilled smile appearing. Is that so? Then that's great, because this disciple has long wanted to find an opportunity to truly spar with Master. Hearing this, it unleashed powerful streams of spiritual energy towards Naja, shouting loudly, Then do as you wish. In an instant, those streams of spiritual energy transformed into silk threads, forming a cocoon that trapped Naja inside. Immediately after, it gritted its teeth and growled, Let me show you my latest breakthrough, this sealing technique that even the Heavenly King praises endlessly. With that said, it opened its mouth wide and let out a piercing roar. In an instant, thousands of chains flew fiercely towards the cocoon. Not stopping there, it continued to unleash powerful streams of energy. Instantly, those streams of spiritual energy strengthened the thousands of chains, making them harder. Not stopping there, it continued to turn its head to the side and said smugly, But to ensure it, I also borrowed a supreme treasure that ordinary people wouldn't dare to imagine. With that said, Master Hu touched his two fingers together, gathering spiritual power in one place. In a flash, it took out a 7 treasures exquisite pagoda of the Heavenly King, which was emitting powerful streams of spiritual energy. And as time went on, the exquisite pagoda emitted even more powerful streams of spiritual energy, looking extremely majestic. Next, it moved the exquisite pagoda behind it into a defensive stance. Not stopping there, it continued to throw the exquisite pagoda up, causing it to enlarge rapidly. Without a moment's hesitation, Master Hu immediately controlled the exquisite pagoda to descend upon the cocoon, trapping Naja. When the exquisite pagoda touched the cocoon, it immediately created an earth-shattering explosion, with streams of aura continuously shooting outwards powerfully. A moment later, it gritted its teeth and growled, You should know better than me that once your father's exquisite pagoda hits its target, as long as it's a living thing, it's impossible to escape. With that said, it fell silent and carefully observed the exquisite pagoda. In a flash, it realized something and showed great alarm. What's going on? The life force in the pagoda is madly disappearing. It's the young master's aura completely dissipated. With that said, it immediately rushed towards the exquisite pagoda at supersonic speed, shouting, Young master! What the hell happened, young master? Meanwhile, streams of aura were still continuously emanating from the dazzling pagoda. Was absorbed by something. A moment later, those streams of aura converged and transformed into someone. In an instant, those streams of aura quickly regenerated Naja's body. Next, Naja said confidently, Living things can't escape, so what if I tear myself apart first and then regenerate? Witnessing that scene, Master Hu was extremely surprised and asked, Regenerate? At the same time, streams of aura were also continuously regenerating Naja's arm. In a flash, it realized something and trembled as it asked, Could it be that, young master, you have entered the Nirvana realm? Facing that question, he answered frankly, Isn't it clear enough? Hearing this, it was so overjoyed that tears streamed down its face as it spoke loudly. Ancestral blessings. The Nirvana realm, which has been lost for 3,000 years in the heavenly palace, has been cultivated by a disciple like me. Immediately after, it hugged Naja tightly and said joyfully, 3,000 years, disciple, you are truly amazing. Immortal and indestructible infinite internal energy. Young master has succeeded. You have achieved true immortality. The more it spoke, the tighter it hugged Naja, causing him to become annoyed, his face darkening as he shouted loudly, Get out of here, you disgusting thing. I'm only interested in beautiful older sisters. Hearing this, it immediately released. Naja clasped its hands together and continued, Jade Emperor, blesses Buddha, blesses all members, bless. Young master, this matter should not be delayed. I will go and report this good news to the Heavenly King. As soon as it finished speaking, it transformed into a beam of light and flew into the sky at the speed of light. After Master Hu left, Naja put on a smug face and picked his nose. So noisy. The Nirvana realm is indeed terrifying, but for a genius like me, what does it count for? It's just a small matter. Wait a few hundred more years until I grow up, and the entire heavenly palace will naturally be my era. Cultivation is truly too simple for this young master. It's not as fun as finding little older sisters to play with. Let's go home and play with the little older sisters. After observing all those scenes, Xian spoke up. His arrogant personality is exactly like the monkey's. It's easy to deal with, just punish him once. Suppressing it a bit will increase its potential. Next, the protagonist took out a card with a picture of a beautiful fox girl and held it between his two fingers. It's just that this name later meets the monkey. It's likely that they are like fire and water, both believing themselves to be supreme. Let's go, let's begin. As soon as the words finished, an extremely powerful beam of light descended from the sky onto the protagonist. Immediately after, the clouds also gathered in one place, making the scenery here extremely majestic, causing Naja to be so frightened that he turned his head to the side to observe. In a flash, Xian transformed into a fox girl with 9 tails and firm breasts, looking extremely beautiful and no less majestic. Not stopping there. Xian's face was no less impressive, with thick eyelashes and rosy lips that enhanced the charm of her snow-white face. Seeing this scene, Yi was so astonished that his face darkened and sweat poured down, leaving him speechless. Seeing his expression, the protagonist immediately asked disdainfully, "Tell me, is it a bit strange for a great man like me to transform into this appearance?" Facing that question, he quickly covered his mouth, but saliva still kept flowing out as he stammered in reply, "No, not at all, Lord Immortal." Hearing this, the protagonist's face immediately darkened. "Oh my god, luckily my university friends from my previous life didn't see me. Otherwise, I would definitely be played for a fool." At the same time, Naja also approached, his entire body emitting waves of cold killing intent as he spoke in a cold voice. "Where did such an eyeless little thief come from, daring to sneak into my house?" Hearing this, the protagonist immediately turned his head to the side, revealing his seductive face, causing Naja to stand frozen on the spot, his face completely blank. But very quickly his heart was made to beat erratically by Hsien's beauty. His cheeks flushed red as he exclaimed, "This older sister is so beautiful." Hearing this, the protagonist became angry and forced a smile. Quickly end this damn embarrassing feeling. With that said, the protagonist immediately got into a horse stance and erupted his spiritual power furiously, like Son Goku. And as time went on, those streams of spiritual power spread around more and more fiercely, but Naja still showed no fear. In an instant, something happened that made the protagonist's eyes widen in surprise. When he noticed that the streams of spiritual power had dissipated, Hsien immediately became alarmed, his face turning purple. "What's going on? Why don't I feel any power?" Immediately, the system displayed a notification. Holy Fox Daji in its daily state has no power and needs to absorb a large amount of external spiritual power to fill its dantian. Only then can it enter a combat state and unleash its divine power. After hearing these words, the protagonist's face became lifeless, his throat constricted, and he said nothing. But very quickly, Hsien became furious and shouted with his mouth wide open, "Damn it, is this a late-game hero? Are you playing me again? Why didn't you tell me sooner? Now where do you expect me to find a large amount of spiritual power for you? Give me another card." As soon as the words finished, the protagonist angrily turned his head to the side and thought, "Damn it, the only way is to anger Naja and make him unleash his ultimate move, then absorb his energy." After thinking it through, Hsien clenched his palm and rushed towards Naja, shouting loudly, "That ugly stupid brat, take a punch from me." With that said, the protagonist threw a punch at Naja, but he was unharmed and still stood motionless in the same spot. Next, Naja looked down at the protagonist and said nothing. But Hsien on this side was extremely scared, sweat pouring down. The next second, the protagonist collapsed and knelt on the ground, lamenting. It's like he's acting spoiled stupid. Seeing this, Naja smirked, a sinister smile appearing. "All right, stop wasting time. This young master can't stand it anymore." Hearing this, Hsien was terrified and retreated, asking, "Can't stand it anymore? What do you want to do?" Facing that question, he slung the protagonist over his shoulder and replied loudly, causing Hsien to panic. "What am I doing? Of course I'm making rice." Upon hearing those words, Hsien's face turned deathly pale, devoid of any blood. "Damn it, what should I do now? The greatest crisis in history. The scene changes to a majestic and magnificent building. Seeing Naja carrying the protagonist, the soldier was extremely surprised. Immediately after, their group clasped their hands behind their backs and bowed respectfully. "Welcome back, your lordship." But he didn't care about those words and directly walked forward without saying anything. At this moment, their group also realized something and spoke in surprise. "What's the situation? His lordship has always only used charm to conquer women. Why is he using such a strong move this time? It's the first time I've seen something so strange." After entering the building, Naja closed the door. Without a moment's hesitation, he immediately threw the protagonist to the side. A moment later, Hsien sat up, his face purple with fear, and shouted, "Don't come here, I'm telling you I'm a man." Hearing this, he fixed his murderous gaze on the protagonist and said with a darkened face, "Shut up and be quiet for me. Don't say anything." Hearing this, Hsien bit his lip tightly and said nothing. At the same time, Naja was also extremely vigilant, as if he had sensed something. Not stopping there, he continued to get into a tense fighting stance, looking around. After a while, Naja gritted his teeth and looked up intently. And his face also darkened accordingly, saying nothing. In a flash, a burly man emitting waves of demonic aura shot up from the ground, causing Naja to widen his eyes in terror. "Not bad, little Naja. I didn't expect you to see through my surveillance." "Since when? At the martial arts school?" "It's only been a few years and you've grown up quite a bit, haven't you?" Immediately, Naja turned to the side and said nothing. Next, Naja fixed his terrified gaze on the man. At the same time, he was also baring his teeth in a sinister smile. In an instant, he erupted waves of demonic aura around him fiercely and spoke. "What's wrong? Don't you recognize this old man, my good grandson?" Hearing this, Naja was so alarmed, his throat constricted and he couldn't speak. And he on this side was also speaking with a sinister face. "Just as your father took care of me, this old man is still as clear as day before your eyes." When he realized it was Tulomo Quen, Naja showed great fear. Tulomo Quen once ranked 10th on the shell list. Wasn't this guy killed by my father? Hearing this, he became angry, his eyes blazing. "I really didn't expect you, kid, to actually be able to reach the Nirvana realm. Heaven is truly helping this old man. Come on, proactively hand over the Nirvana essence. Uncle will let you have a complete change." Hearing this, Naja's blood boiled and he gritted his teeth tightly. "Such big talk. Do you really think you're invincible? You're just a general under my father." Immediately, Naja took a stance and erupted his spiritual power around him, powerfully shouting, "Today, I will let you know that the era has changed you, damn old man. After hearing these words, the demon lord showed no fear, and still looked disdainful. Is that so? In an instant, those streams of spiritual power strengthened Naja's fist as he shouted, "Of course!" As soon as he finished speaking, Naja rushed towards the demon lord at a dizzying speed. But he showed no fear, and still stood motionless there, saying nothing. When he noticed that the demon lord was letting his guard down, Naja was extremely surprised, his eyes wide. Taking that opportunity, he quickly darted away, leaving the demon lord no time to react. After running a distance away, Naja shouted loudly, "Heavenly ranking number 10, I open it. Only a fool would fight you." But the demon lord didn't care about those words, and still stood motionless on the spot, silent. After a while, Naja continued, "But you wait for me, little master. One day I will avenge today." In an instant, the demon lord erupted his demonic aura, creating a giant hand. The next second, that hand punched Naja with great force, causing him to scream in pain. Not stopping there, he continued to control that fist and hit Naja again, causing him to flip over. Next, the demon lord erected a barrier of demonic aura, trapping Naja inside, causing him to panic. "What's going on?" After a while, the demon lord approached Naja and spoke. "Why aren't you running anymore? Do you really think this old man would come to catch you unprepared? Who do you think I am? Hand over the essence quickly or else. Although the Nirvana realm cannot die, this old man can torture you. Combining the Nirvana essence and this old man's spirit-devouring body in less than 10 years, I can not only recover my peak strength, but also find your old man to take revenge." Hearing this, Naja's blood boiled, and he erupted his spiritual power, rushing forward at supersonic speed. "Just a barrier and you want to trap this little master." As soon as he finished speaking, Naja launched thousands of punches like sledgehammers at the barrier, looking like a storm. But the demon lord showed no fear and calmly said, "I advise you not to waste your energy, grandson. This is no ordinary barrier. This is the #1 treasure I was most proud of when I was alive. The energy inside it is so powerful that it can create a small barrier on its own. Even if Shakyamuni came here, he absolutely couldn't break it. Do you understand? It absolutely cannot be broken." But before he could be smug for 3 seconds, the barrier was melted by something, causing the demon lord to be so surprised he stood frozen on the spot, speechless. Meanwhile, the protagonist was also powerfully absorbing the demon lord's barrier. And as time went on, Shen absorbed more and more frantically. In an instant, the barrier disappeared. Seeing that scene, the demon lord was stunned and stood dumbfounded, speechless. The next second, his face turned ashen, devoid of blood, as he exclaimed, "What the hell is going on?" After absorbing it, the surrounding space became strangely quiet. A moment later, the demon lord's jaw dropped in horror as he exclaimed, "What the hell is this? Who are you? Damn it. Although I don't know what strange technique you used, it's useless. You like absorbing, right? All right then, let this old man let you absorb enough." With that said, the demon lord erupted his demonic aura, creating a dark and ferocious dragon. Then he clenched his fist and approached the protagonist. At the same time, streams of demonic aura were still continuously emanating powerfully, causing the protagonist to be so astonished his eyes widened. The pressure is too strong. A moment later, the demon lord gritted his teeth and growled, "Come on, suck it all up for this old man. Let's see if you can withstand this move." As soon as the words finished, the dragon gathered the surrounding demonic aura, forming a giant orb. Without a moment's hesitation, it immediately shot the demonic aura towards the protagonist. But Shen showed no hesitation, extended his hand forward, and erupted his spiritual power. And the protagonist's eyes were also extremely determined. When the two attacks collided, they immediately emitted intense auras. Very quickly, his attack was frantically absorbed by Shen. Seeing this scene, the demon lord immediately realized something. This feeling isn't good. In an instant, the dragon's body was also disintegrated by Shen's suction force. A moment later, Shen had absorbed it, leaving only a little. Immediately after absorbing it, the protagonist fixed his sharp gaze on the demon lord, causing him to be completely stunned, speechless. The next second, the demon lord shouted in terror, "Damn it, even my dragon was absorbed. Impossible, absurd." And Naja on this side was also stunned and speechless. Not long after the protagonist, Naja and the old man stood dumbfounded in one place, saying nothing. After calming down, the protagonist looked at his arm, which was emitting streams of spiritual power. This absorbed energy seems to be able to be actively released. Thinking of this, Shen fixed his sinister gaze on the demon lord and smirked. Hehe. Then this will be fun. Seeing that expression of the protagonist, the demon lord was so scared that sweat poured down. "What's with this expression of yours? What do you want to do?" But the protagonist didn't care about those words and said coldly, "Come here, be our guinea pig, okay? Let me check how much energy I can absorb after all." With that said, Shen powerfully absorbed the demonic aura from the demon lord's body. Causing him to be terrified, his face darkened, and he gritted his teeth. And as time went on, Shen absorbed more and more fiercely, leaving the demon lord unable to resist. Not long after, his eyes rolled back in pain as he screamed miserably. After a long while, his face became gaunt, looking extremely horrifying. Meanwhile, the demon lord's body had also withered, causing him to be unable to stand firm and fall face down on the ground, his butt in the air, dying instantly. But the protagonist on this side was still very calmly releasing streams of spiritual power around him. Seeing this scene, Naja immediately exclaimed in amazement, "Just one technique has drained one of them dry. The battle is over. What damage is the room preparing for? Who on earth is this guy? I've never heard his name." Seeing that the energy flask was still not full, Shen spoke in annoyance. Hey, it can't be like this, can it? The enemy is dealt with. but I haven't absorbed enough energy yet. Is this absorption amount too heaven-defying? Is Daji this strong? What should I do now? The system doesn't even remind me if Naja's potential has increased. It must be that the swaying power is not enough, but this person is already dried up. Where can I find more energy? In a flash, the protagonist realized something and turned his head to the side. No, isn't there still a little bit here? When he noticed Hsien fixing his sinister gaze on him, Naja showed great alarm. Next, he opened his mouth wide and shouted, "What are you looking at me for? I just did that to you to confuse the enemy. It's just a misunderstanding." Hearing this, the protagonist's entire body emitted waves of killing intent as he said with a darkened face, "Don't be so tense. I'm just borrowing a little bit of your energy to use." Without a moment's hesitation, the protagonist immediately shot streams of spiritual power towards Naja, shouting loudly, "Be good now!" With that said, Hsien immediately absorbed his streams of spiritual power towards himself. Noticing this, he immediately got into a horse stance, gritted his teeth, and resisted stubbornly. In an instant, Naja's eyes flashed as he shouted loudly, "Damn it, I'm not as weak as that 10th-ranked, seriously injured guy. Don't forget, Little Master is now in the Nirvana realm with infinite energy." As soon as he finished speaking, Naja erupted his spiritual power, creating a large and majestic spirit beast. Next. Naja opened his mouth wide and shouted smugly, "Infinite energy, do you understand? Is it you?" But before he could be happy for 3 seconds, the protagonist increased the intensity, causing Naja's face to become distorted, and his body also became limp, as if he had lost his soul. After stopping, Naja's face became limp like mud as he struggled to speak. "Damn it, this woman sucks too much." As soon as he finished speaking, Naja tiredly lay down on the ground, his whole body trembling. Meanwhile, his face also turned pale, his eyes white, and he said nothing. Seeing this, the protagonist panicked and helped Naja up. Hey, don't die, I've stopped." "You're the mission target." At the same time, the system also displayed a notification. Energy is full. Seeing this, Hsien was extremely surprised. "It's enough. It seems like there's a surging source of energy in my body that's constantly increasing." After thinking it through, Hsien spread his legs wide and clenched his fists into a stance. Not stopping there, the protagonist continued to erupt his spiritual power around him powerfully like a storm. In an instant, Hsien's entire body was enveloped in streams of spiritual power. At the same time, the system also displayed, "Congratulations to the host for entering Daji's spellcasting state. Holy Fox Daji is the only soul-type mage in the Heavenly Palace. Her attacks ignore defense and directly strike the soul, causing the mentally weak to collapse and the strong to lose their minds. Moreover, she can also invade the target's sea of consciousness and distort their memories." After hearing about such overpowered skills, the protagonist was extremely surprised. Distort memories, is this a movie or something? Such an overpowered ability. If that's the case, then I don't need to pretend anymore, right? Directly using divine powers to change Naja's memories might even increase his potential. That's theoretically feasible. Let's try it. As soon as he finished speaking, the protagonist walked over to Naja, who was lying motionless on the ground. Immediately, Hsien performed his technique, causing his eyes to shine brightly. At the same time, Naja's eyes also flashed due to the protagonist's power. The next second, dazzling beams of light shot out from somewhere. In an instant, the protagonist had entered Naja's mysterious sea of consciousness. Seeing this, Hsien was extremely surprised. This is Naja's sea of consciousness. In an instant, something caught the protagonist's attention. Seeing a hideous monster emitting waves of demonic aura, Hsien was extremely surprised. Seeing a hideous monster emitting waves of demonic aura, Hsien was extremely surprised. What is this again? Could this evil thing be the source of malice in Naja's heart? Let's go in and see. As soon as he finished speaking, Hsien walked towards that evil object with an extremely imposing manner. A moment later, the protagonist jumped onto its body, which was emitting powerful evil auras. Seeing this, Hsien's face immediately darkened and he said nothing. After a long while, the protagonist placed his hand on its body and spoke. "The evil aura is too strong." When it sensed the protagonist's presence, it became enraged and emitted dazzling beams of light, causing Hsien to be blinded and cover his face with his hand. And as time went on, the beams of light spread around more and more fiercely. At the same time, Hsien had also escaped Naja's sea of consciousness in a squatting position. Not long after, a girl with pink hair also walked by, catching the protagonist's attention. Noticing Hsien staring at her, the girl uncomfortably turned her head to the side. Seeing such a beautiful girl, the protagonist immediately clasped his hands and exclaimed loudly, "Little sister is so beautiful!" The pink-haired girl at this time with a dejected expression didn't dare to look up and said shyly, "I'm very sorry, Lord Holy Master, I refuse." Hearing this, Naja frowned in surprise and asked, "I didn't hear wrong, did I? You must have heard about my strength, right? Many people wouldn't even dare to dream of such an opportunity. Do you understand?" The protagonist standing on the side witnessed this scene with a bewildered expression, rubbing his head in confusion. Can't they see me? Am I in Naja's memories now? It's so real, isn't it, returning to their conversation? The pink-haired girl continued to speak. "I know you are a noble immortal in the Heavenly Palace, but my mother taught me since childhood not to take advantage of others." "Take advantage of others? What are you talking about? I just want to accept you as my disciple. You waste so much of your precious time and energy, and I can't repay you for anything. This is taking advantage of others. That's not right. Mother also taught me. I've heard people say that your mother is indeed a famously good person. This holy master also respects your choices, but it's truly a pity to waste such talent. How about this? The time I spend teaching you to cultivate, you come and serve me. That way, it wouldn't be considered taking advantage of me, right? So rest assured it's just simple service. I won't force you. I'll let you decide. Think carefully and then come find me at the city lord's mansion. After hearing the whole story, Yan was so surprised his jaw dropped, and he thought to himself, Naja is actually quite good at this time. Much better than later. The original owner's memories are starting to fade. Are we about to reach the next memory node? It seems Daji's ability can only read the deep memories of the target. Then the scene changed to a place inside the city. At this time, 3 commoners were gathered together whispering loudly and softly. Hey, hey, did everyone hear Enver of Shishir is about to be accepted as a disciple by the city lord? I heard. That weak widow, I don't know what tricks she used to climb to the position of the city lord's wife. So hateful. If she's that beautiful, what tricks can she still use? Of course it's kung fu, what else? I heard a rumor that both mother and daughter were taken in by the city lord as playthings. No way. That little girl isn't even of age yet. Age doesn't matter. As long as she's beautiful, that's enough. His lordship's desires are just that simple. Hey, what else? Having 2 women like that, just thinking about it makes me hot. Just as those people were saying this, Naja had already appeared above them, his eyes bloodshot, and he spoke in a deep voice. Do you like it that hot? Or should I treat you to some barbecue? Seeing him, all 3 of them immediately bowed their heads and knelt down quickly saying, Lord City, Lord spare our lives, your lordship spare our lives. This time I'll spare you. In the future, if anyone dares to speak nonsense again, I absolutely won't forgive them easily. Yes, your lordship, there absolutely won't be a next time. Seeing this, the He family immediately. There's also a bit of surprise and praise. Naja is truly generous now. The scene continued to shift to another part of the memory. The pink-haired girl at that time with a highly focused expression was beginning to cast her magic. Immediately after, she swung her hand and released a stream of spiritual energy forward, sweeping away everything it passed. The ground after that blow was also significantly destroyed compared to the girl's small body. Okay, very good, you did very well. In just half a year, you can control spiritual power to this extent. Even among the people of the Heavenly Palace, there are not many with talent like yours. The pink-haired girl then turned and bowed before Naja, speaking up. I am extremely grateful to Master for nurturing me. Need to thank me. Should be thanking you instead. In the past half year, you not only focused on cultivation, but also excellently completed your maid duties, keeping the room and garden always clean and tidy. Continue to maintain this persistence and seriousness, and sooner or later there will be a harvest you cannot imagine. Hearing those encouraging words, her face immediately became joyful and affirmed. Master, I will not let you lose face. Hsien stood aside, witnessing that scene with a stunned expression, adding another layer of surprise. To achieve this level from a mortal in just half a year, it is truly a heaven-defying talent. The scene shifts to another time period in a certain house where cherry blossom petals are fluttering everywhere. Sitting inside was the pink-haired girl's mother, attentively embroidering and sewing a piece of fabric in her hand. Suddenly, at this moment, a small stone flew in from outside the window. It then hit the old woman right on the head, startling her and making her sit up straight. She then went to the window and looked at the kids below, who were shouting loudly, "Shameless things! Doing nothing yet enjoying life, shameless. Dragon begets dragon, phoenix begets phoenix. The daughter of a pheasant is only for calling to bed." Ha 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 ha. Hearing this, the old woman immediately pursed her lips in anger and looked at them. She then immediately glared and shouted loudly, "Get lost, you ill-mannered brats! Are you done? Don't your parents know how to teach you? My daughter is not like that." The 3 of them heard that and continued to mock without any fear, not listening. Wang Bu Nianjing. But immediately after, all 3 stopped abruptly when they saw Naja appearing standing tall behind them with sharp eyes full of killing intent. Naja immediately after gave each of them a slap across the face, causing their mouths to swell up. The 3 of them then, like the others, bowed and knelt down before Naja, shouting in unison, "City Lord, spare our lives, we know we were wrong." But this time Naja was completely angry and ordered her subordinates with a serious face. "Take the 3 of them back to the City Lord's mansion, understood, my lord." Not long after, they were all brought into the City Lord's mansion, kneeling before him. He then cast a cold, sharp gaze down at all of them and ordered, "Adults 50 strokes, children 10 strokes, begin hitting." An old man among the 3 elders heard this, and his face immediately turned panic-stricken and fearful, speaking loudly, "My lord, they are just children." "Right, that's why I'm giving you 50 strokes, isn't that right? But just because you think they are young and can't even tolerate a little punishment, that won't do." At this time, his disciple standing next to him also spoke up, "But master, 10 strokes may be nothing to adults, but these children might even die. They slandered you and your mother like that. You still want to beg for them?" "Not begging, I just think that using words to hurt others shouldn't cost a life. That would be too unfair to them." Hearing this, Naja didn't make things more difficult, but closed her eyes and reduced the punishment. "It also makes sense. So the little ones change to 3 strokes, just don't let them die, remember. It is you who fabricate injuries to others, repaying kindness with enmity. I saved a life for your children." Hearing this, they all bowed their heads down and said loudly in unison, "Thank you, female bodhisattva." After hearing those words, Naja didn't want to see their faces anymore and immediately spoke to dismiss them. "Get lost, you insolent brats." Saying this, he began to turn and look at the pink-haired girl, asking gently, "Are you really okay? I don't care. I'm mainly afraid it will affect your reputation." "It's all right, master. An upright tree doesn't fear death. Time will prove and erase everything." Ha ha ha. These words don't sound like they could come from the mouth of a child only 13 years old. Let's go. Quickly start today's training session. The goal is still to break through yesterday's limit. Yes, sir. However, the innocent young girl was unaware that the real villain had infiltrated the crowd, and most upright trees are not necessarily fearless. Later, in a certain house in the city, the old man who had just been hit 50 times on the buttocks was lying on the bed, his whole body trembling and crying out, "Oh, my butt." "Ha ha ha, old Wang, I thought you were dead for sure this time." "Me too. The city lord is truly generous in his intent. He just knows he is in the wrong, that's all. Damn it, they only let you do things but not speak. It's truly unreasonable. This damn society only allows officials to commit arson, but not the common people to light lamps. Damn it, he dared to hit my son. Just you wait, when I'm fully recovered, I'll show him what a storm is like." Cannot even raise his head. 3 months later. The rumors between the city lord and the young disciple still haven't faded. On the contrary, they are getting dirtier and dirtier. The people will believe what they wish to believe, and if they believe in that girl's luck, it seems they are also proving their own misfortune. Around this time, Naja was also leading his young disciple for a walk on the streets. Wherever the two of them went, they only received suspicious glances from the surrounding people. On the street, those petty people, although they didn't say a word, the sneer on their lips truly annoyed people. Even if you're angry, there's nowhere to vent. On the contrary, it shows one's narrow-mindedness. Naja immediately after also turned his head back to look at his disciple, questioning, "Disciple, don't you pay attention?" She still replied with a naive and innocent smile on her relaxed face. "Master, I'm truly fine. Just ignore them, it's fine. We can't control them either, it's fine. If you don't care, then I don't need to think too much either. It seems that even as a master, I cannot be as generous as my young disciple, huh?" The young girl at that moment revealed an optimistic smile that made Naja feel very relieved. But no matter how optimistic she was still just a child, only 13 years old. One day, half a year later, when she was found, her body was in the cold, swift-flowing river. Before dying, there wasn't even a slight sign. Only thanks to someone who left a letter for her master. "Master, I have some personal matters that require me to leave for a while to handle alone. Please don't worry about me. Goodbye." The foolish young girl until the end was still worried that her death would sadden her master. The common people only brought misfortune upon themselves. At this moment, Naja's body suffered a great impact and emitted an aura of anger around him. The increasing resentment caused that aura of anger to erupt into an extremely powerful ray that shone straight into the sky. Naja's body then gradually lost consciousness with a pair of bloodshot eyes uttering curses. "Damn it, kill them. These damnable, despicable people, these wretched, despicable people, I want to tear their mouths apart." Saying this, killing intent began to appear within his body, mixed with the aura in the sky. "I must pierce their ears, damn it, the killing intent in my body is spreading. I can't control it anymore. Once I unleash the great slaughter, through the nirvana technique I cultivate, I will completely fall into the demonic path. No, by then everyone will die, I must control it." Saying so, Naja immediately cast the 21st secret technique of the Heavenly King, which conjures painful souls from negative thoughts, and screamed in agony. At this moment, from all 4 sides, red arms called the Great Seal Technique began to appear, gradually rushing towards and tightly holding the killing intent emanating from Naja's body. The increasing number of created arms could gradually control the killing intent and stop it from leaking out. When those streams of killing intent were completely condensed, they formed a very strange, slimy mass inside Naja's body. Successfully sealing that stream of killing intent was also when Naja had no strength, left and fell flat onto the ground. Hishen, standing aside and witnessing from beginning to end, couldn't help but be surprised and gave him a point of respect. It turns out Naja used a secret technique to seal this memory. Later, the malice towards the people in the city was just some resources leaking from this part of the memory if viewed objectively. Naja has already done very well. If it were me, I might not have been able to tolerate it. Saying this, he immediately teleported into Naja's memory, looking at the strange, slimy mass being sealed before him. In other words, right now, I just need one punch to shatter this malicious memory and help Naja eliminate a potential threat. Avoid detours in the future and enhance potential. But just clearing other people's memories like this, is it really good to do so? Thinking so. Hishen pondered for a moment, looking at the malicious memory before him. Not long after, he made a decision, gritted his teeth, and rushed forward. Damn it! What's the point of thinking so much? Put interests first. Self-improvement is the most important thing. At this moment, Hishen gradually raised his fist, which was enveloped by a stream of his spiritual energy. But just as he was about to punch, he stopped his hand just a short distance from the boundary. No. I cannot do this. If someone makes me lose my memory, I will hate them to death. But if I don't, losing the peak card is a small matter. But the important thing is losing the opportunity for advancement. That is absolutely not allowed. Calm down. Must think it through first. Is there a way to hit 2 targets with 1 arrow? After racking his brain for a while, the male lead also surprisingly thought of something. Through the system, I already knew that Naja would cause great disaster later. Peeling dragon veins, digging out father's T-bones, walking through the winding, crooked road. Finally saved by the Tathagata at that time, Naja would be much more fierce than now, but could still be saved by the great mighty Tathagata, so now there isn't much left to save. As for the great mighty Tathagata, Although I don't know him, I have a good way to contact him. Thinking of this, the male lead immediately returned to reality. He then looked up at the sky and said loudly, "Hey, you mysterious old god in the sky. I know you can definitely hear me. Can you help me bring the brat Naja before the great mighty Tathagata? This matter should not be difficult for you, right?" But at this moment, only a silent space and the sound of black crows flying by and cawing answered him. Seeing this, Xian lay down on the floor, picked his nose, and acted shamelessly. "If you don't care about me, then I won't level up anymore. Go figure it out yourself. Let's see who's better." After speaking, he gritted his teeth and glanced behind him, thinking to himself, "Patience there was clearly a way to track and protect me when you saved me in time before." Just as he was thinking about this, a figure appeared from behind, climbing in through the window. It was Yi with a joyful expression, quickly speaking up. "Immortal Chief, your servant Liu Shi has come to save you. Liu Shi saving me. This brat's lie is a bit bold. Ever since I entered that room with Naja, I realized he also followed, always hiding under the window. At that time, his expression clearly seemed to say that if I died, he would coldly turn around and leave. Seeing the situation change, he would immediately adopt a righteous demeanor, not hesitating to sacrifice himself to help and showing panicked concern. I must admit this kid is young, but his acting ability is truly no less than that old fox. Really can't like him. Damn it, I have to help him to get the DLC reward. What to do now? Suddenly an idea came to me. Let's try it. I don't know if it will work or not. Thinking, Xian took out a gem given by the mysterious woman and brought it before Yi, speaking. True friendship is known in times of trouble. Very good, this reward is all yours. With it you can cultivate 10 times faster than others. He then didn't hesitate to extend his hand to receive it with a satisfied smile. He then bowed and knelt down before the male lead and said loudly, "Thank you, immortal chief. I can never repay your great kindness in this lifetime." Saying this, his crocodile tears flowed profusely, making him more engrossed in his role. "You are my reborn parents." Outwardly he acted like that, but in his heart he was secretly grinning with satisfaction. Hey, it is indeed as my data predicted. The immortal chief is really easy to deceive. Give more to this poor kid. At the same time, on Xian's side, the system displayed a notification. Congratulations on completing the side quest. The potential of the person with special talent will increase by 85%. Received DLC item, Crimson Magic Bell. Seeing this, his face immediately became sinister as he looked towards Chang, thinking to himself, 85% of a mortal's potential value is indeed a lot. Next, let's do the experiment I came up with. Xian immediately rushed forward and decisively snatched the gem from Yi's hand, surprising him. "Give it back to me." At the same time, the system panel displayed a notification. The potential of the person with special talent decreased by 5%. But at this moment, the magic bell in his hand was still unharmed and remained on it. Seeing this, Xian seemed to have struck gold and laughed excitedly. "Ha ha ha. It is indeed as my data predicted. Even if it decreased, the reward was not taken back. In that case, the whole problem cannot be solved. Got the DLC again, no need to worry about future consequences." After thinking, he turned to look at Yi and continued. "Okay, the auction is over. Thank you, brother, for your help. We'll meet again if fate allows. I still have things to do. I'll go first." At this moment, he could only stand frozen and blankly stare at his back, with question marks appearing in his mind. Auction. What kind of situation is this? In this lifetime, Liu Shi could never realize how many opportunities he missed due to his bad impression. Luckily, he wasn't seriously harmed. Oh no, it seems I've also lost a little. 2 hours later, Xian had transformed back into his own body, sitting cross-legged next to Naja, thinking to himself, calm down. Judging from the actions of the Heavenly Lord, earlier, this method can definitely pass. I must believe in my own judgment. The only thing I don't understand is how helping him like that didn't affect him at all. So why should I hesitate? While he was still wondering and contemplating from the sky, the Heavenly Lord finally appeared along with a dark cloud approaching. From inside the cloud at this moment, a beam of light began to shine down, illuminating the entire area. Naja was then gradually lifted into the air by that beam of light. Xian, having judged correctly, once again burst out laughing and spoke, "Haha, I told you so." Before the Heavenly Lord disappeared, a voice echoed down from above. "Third time's the charm. Tomorrow I will have to rely on you. Even if your life is in danger, I will not help you." Hearing this, the male lead's face immediately turned thoughtful, and he pondered to himself, why could there still be something difficult to say? Ding ding, congratulations on completing the main quest so fast. The Heavenly Lord is not, the Tathagata is he has completely eliminated the malice in Naja. Not getting lost for 300 years, potential value increased by 37%. The reward is the Queen Mother of the West level card. Seeing this, Xian felt helpless and disillusioned, lying flat on the ground and sighing. Isn't she a woman again? It's really troublesome. Oh well. The time limit to complete the next mission is only 5 days. I must seize the opportunity. After running a few steps, he suddenly realized something and stopped abruptly. Oh right, I almost forgot, although Naja is gone. But the people who like to spread false rumors didn't receive any punishment. It's quite strange, isn't it? Half a month later, a new piece of news began to spread quickly. The wider the range it spreads, the more exaggerated it becomes. There is news that ancient cultivation ruins have appeared in Tai'an City, and a large amount of treasures have appeared. And some curious rogue cultivators being idle went inside to explore martial arts and discovered 2 important treasures. Afterwards, an unsolvable situation arose, and cultivators swarmed into Tai'an City like a disturbed beehive. Most of the outsiders are greedy and cold-blooded. Very quickly, Tai'an City had no peaceful days, and a large number of elderly common people in the city had to leave one after another. When many mouths spoke about Tai'an City, in the end, this place was harmed just because of a rumor. Of course, all of this happened later. The scene shifts to outside Tai'an City. Xian was standing here looking at a cliff in front of him with a bit of hesitation and doubt. Spreading those rumors, I don't know if they will be effective or not. Having two treasures supported by the mysterious woman's good disciple is even better. Just follow nature for now. I will still try to use the peak card this time after leveling up. Thinking of this, his face became increasingly eager and he showed a curious smile. I wonder which force will be upgraded. Thinking, Xian exerted his cultivation and tensed up, causing lightning bolts to appear and strike down from the sky. From within his palm at this moment, a ball of spiritual energy had also gathered, enveloped by an aura. The male lead immediately swung his hand and blasted it straight forward with a wind-tearing speed. The power of the level up was truly great. It is completely not on the same level as the previous time. His power is even close to grasping the great Tao power of the monkey. At this moment, the stream of spiritual energy he unleashed was still glowing in the sky and rushing forward quickly. Suddenly at this moment, that stream of spiritual energy suddenly grew a leathery leg that placed itself on the ground below to break. The male lead, witnessing that scene, was also unexpectedly dumbfounded, standing there shocked sideways with his mouth wide open. His face then changed color and he started sweating profusely, stammering. What is happening? The magic stopped by itself. It didn't stop there. That stream of spiritual energy could now gradually move on its own and continuously change its shape. It immediately after separated into 8 small and cute animals with adorable shapes. Seeing this, Xian was once again surprised and exclaimed, Oh, am I dreaming? One of the leader creatures at this moment looked towards the cliff in front. Then turned to look at the remaining 7 and said, How is it, everyone? Is there any good plan for the current target? Feel that first we should mobilize energy to dig a deep hole, then everyone inside will explode. Maximize damage, agree. Feel it too. Then let's decide like that. I'll go fight the first battle, you guys then enter inside and explode. Finishing speaking, the leader creature, like a flash of lightning, darted towards the cliff with resolute eyes, then slammed into the cliff, causing a large explosion that sent dirt and rocks flying everywhere. As the smoke gradually dissipated, it revealed a hole of a certain depth created by the leader creature just now. The other 7 creatures at this moment also unanimously and in unison rushed quickly towards it. The 7 creatures at this moment had reached the mouth of the hole, which was forming 7 different colors flashing in the air. Immediately after, one of them volunteered to explode, first creating an explosion that spread evenly throughout the cliff and caused it to crack. Immediately after, the remaining 6 also joined together to explode, creating a large explosion with immense power. The entire cliff at this moment could no longer withstand the power of the explosion and gradually showed signs of shattering. Immediately after, the entire cliff collapsed before the male lead. Witnessing this unprecedented scene before him, he couldn't help but be surprised and froze for 5 seconds. He then tried to regain his composure, sweating profusely and widening his eyes. Did the magic just now generate its own will? Half an incense stick later, after experimenting a few more times, Xian was completely cold. Magic actually has its own consciousness. It's hard to believe I've never seen it before. What kind of powerful being was the predecessor of this body? At the same time, the system panel displayed a notification of a new quest. The target of the quest is the descendant Tai Diaoqi. The current identity is the city lord of Langjiang City. Currently in the Wulong Mountain camp on the eastern outskirts of the city, a descendant. It's a city lord again. Why did he run to the mountain stronghold? The scene shifts to a moment later at the houses located beside the cliff inside at this moment. 3 mountain bandits were whispering and discussing with each other. What on earth happened that the chief suddenly summoned everyone back? Haven't you heard anything yet? No, what on earth happened? In the camp, some brothers found the city lord of Langjiang, who was seriously injured by someone in the forest. The other 2 heard this and widened their eyes in surprise, asking back, City Lord, the boss plans to extort the City Lord's mansion. Once we get the ransom money, we quickly disperse and run. From now on, we won't worry about food and clothing extorting the City Lord's mansion. As expected of a big brother with charisma. The male lead, hiding behind a bush nearby, heard the conversation of the 3 mountain bandits and surprisingly stroked his chin, thinking to himself. Seriously injured, so he was captured by the mountain bandits. No wonder his location is inside the camp deep in the forest. My current mission is still to ambush and get close to the descendant first. Understand his true personality and then prescribe the right medicine. To understand the target better, I cannot reveal my strength and attract too much attention. Let me think. That's fine. Pretend to save someone and get locked up with the target, then judge their behavior later. Once the detailed plan was prepared, Xian immediately stood up and revealed himself, speaking. Hey, you wretched bunch, quickly tell your boss to release the city lord, otherwise don't blame me for being impolite. The 3 mountain bandits heard this and all turned their emotionless eyes to stare at him. Not long after, Xian was roughly kicked into the prison by them, then looked at him with a contemptuous expression and spoke. Even a mortal without cultivation wants to come and save someone. Truly overestimating yourself, lock him up together. You should feel lucky that our boss doesn't kill. Sitting next to the male lead at this moment was the descendant Tai Diaoqi. The city lord of Langjiang City is also the target of this quest. Jiaoqi then looked at Hexian's back and asked curiously. They said saving someone. Are you here to save me? Hearing this, he suddenly remembered his mission and turned his head in surprise. He then played the role of a fan and spoke. You are the city lord, aren't you? I have admired you for a long time. I accidentally heard them kidnapping you in the mountains, so I fought with them. My lord, no need to thank me. These are things I should do. Contrary to the gentleness of the male lead, Jiaoqi replied with an angry expression, repeatedly kicking him. I thank your head. What are you, a mortal like you, showing off? You yourself have no power. Don't you know to go report to the city lord's mansion? This time, it's great. What's the use? Hexian then sat up with lumps on his head, trying to force a smile even though tears were flowing, and replied. My lord, I know I was wrong. I single-mindedly wanted to save my lord. The intention is good. For this mission's reward, I must bear it, but this guy is too violent. It always feels a bit wrong. Diaoqi, standing here, also replied to his previous words with an angry expression. Shut your mouth, you fool. A moment later, when it was mealtime, a chef appeared from outside holding a plate of food, opened the door and entered. He then bent down and placed the plate with the food, which was still hot, on the ground, and spoke. This is your dinner. Saying this, the chef immediately glanced outside the door with a vigilant expression, seeing that the guard was not paying attention inside. The chef, seizing this opportunity, quickly whispered softly, City Lord, I am the chef here, one who admires you. I intend to rescue the two of you. In the evening, they will hold a feast. By then, I will bring food and drug them to make them pass out. Wait for my good news, please be assured. Saying this, the chef immediately turned his back and left as if nothing had happened. Jiaoqi heard this and didn't show much surprise, looking at the chef's back, gradually walking away. The more he looked at that guy, the more he noticed something, frowning and thinking to himself, why do I always feel like I've met this guy somewhere before? Not long after it started to get dark. Just as the chef had said, all the mountain bandits at this moment were happily holding a celebratory feast together. At the same time, inside the kitchen, the man had begun to take out a bottle of medicine he had put away earlier and held it in his hand. His wife, standing outside the door, saw this and felt a bit uneasy, advising him, Husband, please don't do that, okay? These bandit brothers are our saviors. If they hadn't intervened to help, we would have been killed by those evil people that year. You are now repaying kindness with enmity. The chef heard this and turned to look at the woman, replying, No matter what, they are bandits, but they are good people who only rob the wicked. Didn't you say these things? Don't talk anymore, my heart is set. Only like this is there a chance to escape the bottom layer. To make your life better in the future, I must definitely stand on others. This might be my only chance, I must seize it. The chef's wife heard this and said no more, silently observing the man. A moment later, a tall, slender, familiar figure appeared from the stairs, rushing down below. The chef had now unlocked the door to the male lead's prison cell and announced, My lord, it's all taken care of, let's go quickly. The two inside heard this and glanced towards the man, silently rating him highly in their hearts. The three then walked out of the dark cellar and looked at all the mountain bandits who were sleeping soundly before them. Diaoqi then turned to look at the chef and spoke words of praise. Very well done, this city lord always repays kindness. Upon returning, there will definitely be a great reward. Thank you, city lord. But there is still a small matter that requires you to do. Please tell me. Don't say one thing, even 10 things are not a problem. Diaoqi then, with a sinister expression, made a hand gesture across his neck, indicating and continuing, Go kill them all. This is the only way to cut off their ability to pursue. Hearing this, the expressions of all three people present became shocked, and they stood frozen, unable to speak. Hexian then also broke out in a cold sweat, thinking to himself, What's with this guy? This personality is much more vicious than Naja, decisive killing or indiscriminate slaughter. Diaoqi, at this moment, seeing that the chef wasn't answering, continued speaking. What's wrong? Can't you do it? The chef's wife, standing behind him with a frightened expression, quickly spoke up to advise him. Husband, you cannot. If you do that, there will truly be retribution. This is an opportunity to rise up. Don't miss it at all costs. I know these guys, although they are bandits, have a very good reputation, but I want them dead. How will you choose? The chef, standing before two choices between his conscience and the opportunity to change his life, was hesitant and lowered his head still without an answer. Hexian, standing on this side and looking at the situation before him, was also a bit confused and thought to himself, This guy is so brutal. What should I do? Thinking of this, he began to cast magic to create some ropes on his hands. Although these bandits captured me, I deliberately provoked them. They also planned to get the ransom and release me. Those ropes were now connected to the bodies of the bandits lying behind, along with a thought from the male lead appearing. The artifact given to me by the strong little Yan Wong can be used now. In a short time, I can enter a state of feigned death, and then no matter how severe the injury, it will recover. These guys just hoard money and resources. Their crime doesn't warrant death. At the same time, Diaoqi, who was standing nearby, continued to urge him. What's wrong? Are you done resting? The chef then made his decision and opened his mouth to reply. As he spoke, he drew the blade from its sheath with a timid voice. Having thought it through in an instant, the chef took the lives of all the mountain bandits present there. The chef now seemed to have become a different person, speaking up again. As long as I can stand high, everything can be sacrificed. Langjiang City Lord did not break his word, just as he promised. Immediately upon returning to the city lord's mansion, he brought wealth and fortune to the chef. Not only money, but also women. For him, having struggled for half his life, this was like a dream. A moment later in the city lord's bedroom, he was sitting on his chair, resting his chin and looking at his subordinate in front of him, speaking. How is it have the matters been thoroughly investigated? Reporting, my lord, it has been thoroughly investigated. That chef had participated in many court examinations before. Not only did he win awards, but he even met you, but afterwards, because you granted a position to your confidant and refused him, he and his wife then left Langjiang. Then on the road they encountered evil people and were saved by the Dragon Tiger Fortress. When there was no escape, he fell into the hands of bandits and then made a living by cooking. I was wondering why he looked familiar. It turns out I've met him before. This fellow has a future. Such a great resentment, yet there's no hint of hatred on his face. Call him here. This city lord has something to say to him. A while later, the cook had entered Diao Qi's room and raised his glass, taking a drink. After taking a sip, he slammed the wine glass on the table and said cheerfully, "Good wine indeed, it's wine bestowed by the city lord." Diao Qi sitting opposite him heard this and burst out laughing, replying, "Ha ha, you adapt quickly. It's only been a few days since we last met, and you've completely adopted an upper-class demeanor." Praised by him, the cook's face flushed and he puffed out his chest, replying, "That's because I was favored by your lordship. Haha, now I have women and plenty of money. Do you want to take another step further to hold something more interesting in your hands?" "More interesting? What is it? What else could it be? Of course it's power." Hearing this, he was stunned for a moment, speechless with astonishment. Then, unable to hide his excitement, he kowtowed repeatedly and said loudly, "Thank you, city lord. You are truly my reincarnated parents. Don't thank me yet. I still need to test some of your qualities. To follow me in great endeavors, you must abandon common sentiments for women, weakness, and timidity. Please speak, your lordship. No matter what the test is, I guarantee I will complete it for you." Diao Qi then began to whisper something to the cook. After hearing it, the cook's face turned horrified, sweat pouring down like rain, speechless. The cook then stood up, turned, and left, witnessed by He-Shan, who was observing everything from behind the window. This fellow's personality is quite twisted. Completely not worth it. But what about the reward? The main storyline isn't like ordinary people. Well, I can just casually increase the potential points then. The scene shifts to a while later inside the forest. The cook was now leading his wife hurriedly heading deeper inside. When they reached the living room of the city lord's mansion, he immediately opened his bag and hastily put the necessary items inside. His wife saw this and, a bit surprised, asked curiously, "Husband, what on earth happened? Why do we have to leave in such a hurry? It was fine this morning. Why just after meeting the city lord again? Don't mention that city lord's name anymore. He's a demonic beast." "Husband, what do you mean? What on earth happened? Let's talk on the road. We have to leave first. I really don't want to stay in this cursed place for another moment." A while later, after they had both left the city, the wife finally dared to ask again. "Husband, what on earth is going on? Can you tell me now? That beast said he wants to give us an official position. Oh, isn't that a good thing? Good, my foot. He said I'm still too timid and weak. He told me to kill you, my wife, and bring your head as a pledge of allegiance to him." Hearing this, her face turned horrified and she covered her mouth, exclaiming, "What? At worst, we don't need wealth anymore. No matter what, I will listen to you. He fundamentally doesn't know what we've been through yet. He opens his mouth and demands to kill you. He's truly a beast that deserves to die. All right, don't be angry anymore. Don't get upset over someone not worth it. How could an official understand he hasn't experienced days like these? All right, let's go. We have to leave this tattered place quickly." As night began to fall, the cook and his wife had spread out a silver sheet and were sleeping on it. But at this moment, the cook was not yet asleep and slowly opened his eyes. Next, he sat up, reached into his bag, and fumbled around searching for something. At this moment, he took out a dagger he had prepared earlier, raised it, and looked towards his wife with a cold expression. At the same time, his wife was startled awake, groggily opened her eyes and looked towards him. But immediately after, her eyes widened in horror when she saw the dagger in his hand. "Damn it, why aren't you sound asleep? Why did you wake up and make things difficult for me?" At this point, the cook didn't want to delay any longer and began to raise the dagger in his hand. Next, he plunged it straight into his wife's chest with a cold-blooded expression. Before she completely stopped breathing, she spat out a mouthful of blood onto his face as a final farewell. After the cook had dealt with his wife's life, he flipped her body over. Then he looked down at his trembling hands covered in her blood. His emotions were now in turmoil, and he covered his face, sobbing like a child. His cries echoed throughout the forest, making the atmosphere gloomy and eerie. The scene shifts to the next morning at the city lord's mansion in Langja City. Jiao Qi, sitting inside, heard the news and laughed heartily with delight. "Ha ha 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 ha, not bad at all. This is the demeanor of someone who does great things." The cook standing opposite him heard those praises, but his expression showed no joy. He was pensive and looked down. At this moment, in front of him was the box containing the head of his unfortunate wife, still dripping blood. Diao Qi then spoke, ordering his subordinate beside him. "Xiao Qi, take him to change into the deputy official's uniform." "Yes, your lordship." Hearing this, the cook's face finally showed a hint of joy as he asked, "Deputy official," but before he could be happy for 3 seconds, Diao Qi had changed his mind and called him back. "Oh right, wait a moment. I suddenly remembered there's still a small matter. Murdering and taking a life. Isn't that a violation of my Langjiang laws?" He standing here heard this, and his expression immediately turned dazed, frozen for a moment. Then beads of sweat began to pour down, along with fear clearly showing on his face as he hurriedly said, "Your lordship, what do you mean by this? Didn't you tell me to do it? Not long after, the cook was tied to a cross, his body covered in wounds." He was now still trying to muster his weak strength to speak. Why on earth? Why plot against a mere servant like me? I don't understand. Diaoqi, standing before him, calmly stroked his chin and replied, Since you're going to die anyway, I have these words for you. I plotted against you because you are too much like me, although I was born in the noble city lord's mansion. But I am an illegitimate child of the lowest kind. I have nothing to do with the position of city lord, but I am not content with that position. I must step onto the path of cultivation to fight. I can do anything and pay any price for this. On my way, I have killed many people. Guilty and innocent men, women, children, blah blah blah, including my brothers and my royal father. The throne made of fresh blood led to my achievements today. Hearing him ramble on, the cook finally exploded in anger and shouted loudly, So what does this have to do with me? I don't have any conflict of interest with you either. Hearing this, Diaoqi stroked his chin and continued, Those brothers of mine also once said the exact same words as you. But I killed them all, because hungry wolves like us will never be content to be beneath others. Am I wrong? As soon as he finished speaking, Diaoqi began to smile, raising his arm, which was enveloped in a stream of flames. Then he swung his hand, shooting a stream of flames straight towards the bound cook. Immediately after, that stream of flames erupted into a large fire with intense heat gradually roasting the cook's body. In an instant, his entire body had turned charred black in an extremely painful posture. That fire was not like ordinary fire. It grew increasingly intense with temperatures exceeding 1,000 degrees Celsius. At this point, the cook's entire corpse was gradually burned to ashes by the fire in a very unsightly state. Diaoqi, standing opposite, was smiling smugly, admiring the work he had created. The charred corpse of the cook then collapsed onto the floor as the fire died down. Hishen, hiding nearby and witnessing everything, was a bit astonished, thinking to himself, The cook's wife has been saved by me. Inside the box is an illusion spell. But I really don't want to let these two guys off. But for an unrelated matter, not only is there no reward, but I also have to waste a card. It's not worth it at all. Just as he thought of this, Diaoqi in front of him had turned to look at him and spoke. Hey, I say, have you watched enough of the show? Looking at you, you're probably not just a mortal, are you? Hishen then didn't bother hiding anymore and calmly stepped out, glancing at him. Diaoqi then began to extend his hand, accumulating a stream of spiritual energy, and continued, No matter what your identity is, let's die together. As soon as he finished speaking, he rushed forward with his fists and streams of spiritual energy surrounding him. Hishen immediately didn't stand still either and jumped into the air, easily dodging that blow. Next, he landed back on the ground and slid a long distance. At this moment, his expression turned serious and he glared at Diaoqi, thinking to himself, If that's the case, I don't need to force myself to find a reason anymore. Let's see if I can rely on my own strength to resolve this. Thinking of this, his entire body began to emanate an aura, along with a clear change in strength. His current body had far surpassed his former self. At the same time, Diaoqi had shot straight into the sky and began to use an earth element technique. Around his body, a unique aura was also emanating as he looked grimly towards the male protagonist. He below had also assumed a ready-to-fight stance, gradually creating streams of spiritual energy with their own consciousness surrounding him. All of them, seeing this, began to speak to each other, fighting quick. Hearing this, Wukong was very surprised, turned to look at him and replied, Oh, master, you want to do it personally? I'm looking forward to it so much. I can learn again. Hishen then began to take out the Yan Wong card, holding it in his hand, thinking to himself, The cooldown time has been shortened to just 1 minute. Next time, perhaps I can cast it immediately. Just as he finished thinking, his body began to grow larger, emitting an extremely powerful aura. The form he transformed into was the strongest Yan Wong in history. Qinguang Wang. Hishen then looked at the old man in front of him with his sharp gaze, thinking to himself, Indeed, an interesting ability. Good. This time I'll play something different with you. Old Yan Wong, standing on this side, watched the male lead slowly sit down and also thought to himself, Transformation not worth mentioning. But what's with this aura? This isn't... The story opens with our male protagonist sprawled on his bed amidst a chaotic mess. My name is Hishen. Thought I was just a good-for-nothing lazing around at home waiting to die. I've spent my whole life in bed never imagining I'd transmigrate. Came to a fantasy world that everyone greatly admires, and it's been over 3 years. It's a world where everyone rides their immortal swords to get around. And just like in many cultivation stories, I too have a system. Even have a secret manual called the Dog Brother Secret Manual. Plus another secret, a pair of small demon wings sprouting from my shoulders. But what I lack is the motivation to cultivate. However, this isn't a good solution either. Wasting such a great opportunity will incur heaven's punishment. As he thought this, a scene flashed in his mind, a Dadi with eyes full of killing intent, wielding a chair, chasing and beating him. No, this won't do. If I continue like this, it's not going to work. First, I'll do 10 push-ups to regain some motivation. With that, he struggled to complete 1 push-up. After the second one, Xian's face was pale and drenched in sweat. Before finishing the third, he couldn't hold on any longer and face planted onto the floor, accepting his fate. Forget it. I'll accept the retribution. I've tried my best. What a pity for a powerful cultivator's life. Travel safely. Farewell. May I not meet any lazy people in heaven. Originally thought that a good-for-nothing like me would just spend this transmigration life cloud-gazing. But I didn't realize that besides laziness, I have another fatal flaw. That is the fear of death. The system reminded him, mission time remaining 100 final days. Mission failure will result in immediate termination of the host. Seeing this, his face immediately turned panicked, his eyes wide as he exclaimed, "What, time kill?" Immediately after, Xian got a boost of 100 million motivation points and ran for his life. This damn system never reminded me there was a time limit. He then rode a horse at full speed, constantly muttering, "I'm going to die, I'm going to die, I'm going to die." Just like that, he traveled a long distance across the endless plains to the end of the map. At this time, Xian had stopped at Yuntaishan, a normal mountain cave. Then, unable to stand firm any longer, he clutched his waist and fell to the ground, groaning. "Finally made it. Oh, my old waist." As he said this, he looked up at a spirit stone in front of him. The mission objective must be to activate that treasure pearl. Damn it. Ran for over 3 months for a tattered ball. Luckily, I caught up. As soon as the protagonist touched the treasure pearl, it immediately emitted a beam of energy that illuminated the entire area. Even he was pushed back by the light, squinting as he struggled to see ahead. The system then displayed a notification. "Congratulations on successfully activating the treasure pearl. Next, allow me to introduce the situation of the Tiangong. The contemporary Tiangong is in the era of the Yu Huangda Di, and this era is called the Golden Age in the history of Tiangong. Among the 12 peak martial arts masters, randomly choosing one could defeat any leader from other periods in Tiangong. However, the entire Tiangong was still destroyed in the year 1473 of the Jade Calendar, and all 12 peak martial arts masters died in battle. The masterminds behind the scenes were 9 mysterious figures who suddenly appeared from the west, calling themselves the Black Sin Organization. And you are currently in the Jade Calendar, year 773, 700 years before the Tiangong was destroyed. Your mission is to increase the potential of the 12 peak martial arts masters. Let them surpass themselves and develop into grandmasters above grandmasters to save the common people in 700 years from now. The introduction reward is complete. Congratulations on completing the first mission and receiving the reward." Holding the reward in his hand, Xian was surprised to see it was the Da Shengge, consumable item. It can allow the user to achieve peak strength for a short period, capable of defeating Buddha. The system then announced the start of the second mission. Mission objective: go to Huaguoshan and find Sun Wukong in his rookie stage, and increase Sun Wukong's potential value by 30%. After the announcement, the screen began to display an image of Sun Wukong enraged with bullet-like eyes, growling a few times. Seeing this, the protagonist angrily threw the system to the ground and shouted, "How can you call this the rookie stage? And is it necessary to travel half the map just to watch a video? Can't I just do it directly on the system? I really suspect your system is playing dirty tricks on me. Do you know how I survived for 3 months? This is driving me crazy. Luckily, the first mission was delayed for over 3 years, and this mission will probably be similar. No need to worry about solving it immediately. This is truly the most terminally procrastinating cancer patient Wolf has ever seen." But the system said no to that and displayed another notification. Time limit to complete the mission: 3 days. Seeing this, Xian couldn't remain calm anymore, flew into a rage, gave the middle finger and shouted, "Damn system, are you deliberately targeting me? There's no time to stand around talking anymore." He immediately attached an engine to his rear and sped forward, muttering 2 words repeatedly. "Dead, dead, dead." Scene changed to 3 days later in the outskirts of Huaguoshan. A crowd of people had gathered surrounding something. In the middle of the crowd was our protagonist, with a terrified expression, speaking in a trembling voice. "Esteemed immortals, let's talk things over slowly. Please, by all means, don't resort to violence." The people surrounding Xian all looked at him with sharp, murderous eyes. An old man from one of the 3 major righteous sects, the master of Tianmen Liu Yuan, at the late-stage nascent soul cultivation level, asked curiously, "What is a mortal like you doing in this Shanmai district?" "I was just picking herbs and carelessly wandered into this place. I hope the immortal master will forgive me. Just a mere mortal dares to enter an area full of demon beasts. You don't know your own limits. Scram quickly." Right, right. This lowly one will scram immediately. Hey, wait a minute. I have a better idea. Why don't we drain this brat's essence blood and refine it into a blood chi pill? Perhaps it can attract 2 more demon beasts. Hearing this, Xian lost his composure, his eyes wide and mouth agape as he exclaimed, "What, drain all my essence blood? Clothes. Aren't your clothes those of righteous people? How can you do such a thing? Besides, doesn't the cultivation world have a rule that cultivators can't harm ordinary people?" Hearing this, all of them couldn't help but burst out laughing. "Little brother, you're truly naive and adorable. What rules are you talking about? The big fish eating the small fish is the only rule in the cultivation world." Hearing this, the protagonist fell back, stunned and dazed for a moment. Then he quickly stood up, regained his composure, and said loudly, "Don't come any closer. Let me tell you, I have a secret weapon." With that, he reached behind him, took out the Da Shengge card, and thought, "There's no other way but to use it first. When I meet the Hawang Monkey King, I can think of other ways. This feeling, it's coming soon, almost there. A steady stream of power is flowing into my body. I feel like I'm about to explode." Seeing the protagonist like this, Liu Yuan and the others were astonished, their eyes wide as they stammered, "What? What's happening? What's with this kid's aura?" He, on the other hand, was about to transform into a Super Saiyan and thought gleefully, "Awesome! Is this the feeling of a strong person? It feels so good." After successfully transforming, Xian turned his bloodshot eyes to the crowd in front of him and spoke, Come here, you damn scoundrels. Didn't you want the big fish to eat the small fish? Today let this great master teach you a lesson. Just as the protagonist finished speaking, the power in his body dissipated much to his bewilderment. Huh, what's going on? A short time isn't that short, is it? The system panel then displayed a notification. Congratulations, host. Dashenge has been successfully used. Your Dashenge will arrive on the battlefield in 10 minutes. 10 minutes. If there's a cooldown, why didn't you say so earlier? Isn't this too embarrassing for a brother? I'm dead. This time I'm really dead. Liu Yuan then approached, grabbed Hexian by the collar, and interrogated him. Speak now. What exactly was that aura just now? Suddenly a voice came from behind him, causing him to turn around in surprise. Hey, you hairless, tuskless brat. Behind him was a massive dragon growling along with a figure exuding a murderous aura who continued to speak. What are you looking at? I'm talking to you. When the figure became clear, it was Mei Wang. This is the younger son Wukong, a sword strapped to his back. So it's you lot who've been hiding in the shadows hunting down my monkey kin. Liu Yuan, seeing this, gritted his teeth angrily and thought, damn Demon King level. Why did he appear here? I only killed a few of his mid-level lackeys, was it worth it? I came out to vent a little, why am I so unlucky? It's too late to call for help from the ancestor now. Damn it! After thinking, the old man raised one hand towards the sky, creating a formation with his magic. What are you spacing out for? Buy me some time. Just enough time to cast 2 high-level spells will do. What? Sect Master, you dare, too. That's a Demon King. A few low-level spells won't do anything. It's over. Am I going to die here today? This old lady hasn't even tasted a man yet. Less nonsense from me. As long as my treasure has enough time to charge, even a Demon King will die. Mei Wang, standing nearby, heard this, calmly picked his nose and looked at him with half-closed eyes, replying, Oh, really? That's scary. With that, he lay down on the ground, letting the other monkeys massage him. Very confident, kid. All right. This king will wait for you. No need to rush. Prepare your spell to be a bit stronger. If it's not enough, I can give you more time. The 3 people standing before Mei Wang looked at him with terrified expressions, not daring to make a sound. Meanwhile, the nearby protagonist, with a delighted expression, looked at the system panel showing only 8 minutes left and thought, right. The more the better. As for old Liu Yuan, he was smiling excitedly and said loudly, All right then. You said it yourself. Don't embarrass yourself in front of your monkey king. 5 minutes later, the magical vortex created by the old man had become a powerful whirlwind, exuding an extremely strong aura. Mei Wang, seeing this, also stood up and spoke in surprise. Is it done? Have I been waiting this long for it? After speaking, a smug smile appeared on his face as he looked ahead with cold eyes. The giant vortex in front of him now began to emit a stream of immortal energy with an extremely powerful pressure downwards. Old Liu Yuan, standing above, still maintained a smug smile as he looked down and laughed loudly. Ha, you foolish monkey. Tell me, don't you look like a foolish villain from a novel? Do you know this is the true immortal artifact bestowed upon me by the ancestor? Its only drawback is that it takes too long to cast. An immortal artifact. Could it be a magical artifact from the Tiangong? Even I am seeing it for the first time in my life. That being said, even a Demon King would probably fall. The old man, without further ado, waved his hand towards Mei Wang, his bloodshot eyes, exclaiming, See you in the next life, stinky monkey. As he finished speaking, dozens of formations suddenly appeared in the sky, creating hundreds of spiritual energy beams that shot downwards. All the spiritual energy beams were aimed in one direction towards Mei Wang. The immortal energy from the old man's technique created a powerful pressure that pushed people on both sides far away. Old Liu Yuan on this side also opened his mouth wide and shouted 2 words. Die! As the old man finished speaking, dozens of spiritual energy beams also shot towards Mei Wang. Seeing this, he wasn't scared at all, turned to look at the camera and smiled confidently. Immediately after, all the spiritual energy beams created by old Liu Yuan shot straight down at him. Ha, turn into dust, stinky monkey. I told you once the immortal artifact is activated, you will surely die. Damn stinky monkey. But just as he turned to leave, Mei Wang's voice echoed from behind. Aren't you celebrating a bit too early? When the old man turned back, he saw Mei Wang had grown larger, growling in front of him, and exclaimed, What the hell is happening? Why isn't there a single scratch? And he's become so big? Mei Wang then began to charge forward with sharp eyes, raising his fist. Look closely. Let me show you what true power is. As Mei Wang finished speaking, his fist stopped right in front of old Liu Yuan, the force of the blow sending the mountain behind him flying. His 2 subordinates, witnessing the scene, were so astonished their eyes almost popped out as they exclaimed, One punch demolished the entire mountain. Mei Wang then looked down at the old man with a smug expression and said, Want more? Kid. Liu Yuan, now with no spirit to fight, collapsed to his knees, his face dazed and tearful. Then he forced a smile through his tears and said loudly, Great Lord Hao, one of a kind, I beg you to raise your hand high and spare this lowly one a path to live. Mei Wang, hearing this, said nothing more, shrank his body and spared the old man. Suddenly his gaze caught the attention of the protagonist. He now realized Mei Wang was looking at him, and his face turned pale with fright. Looking at his Da Sheng great sage, which still had 40 seconds to arrive, his whole body began to tremble as he stammered, Again. Great lord, I wasn't with them. He ignored the protagonist's words and raised his fist in response. Just now, you kid gave me an extraordinarily uncomfortable feeling. Looking at the remaining 30 seconds, Hishan raised his hand to stop him trying to stall for time. Wait a moment. I actually came to find the great king to become your disciple, sir. Become my disciple. Exactly. Master, please accept this disciple's bow. Since I was 3, this disciple has heard every day the mighty tales of Master Meiho Wang from Hua Guoshan. The greatest dream of every child in the village is to go to Hua Guoshan and acknowledge you as master. Today I finally have the chance to fulfill my wish. Please, you must accept this disciple. Otherwise, I won't be able to live. Oh, am I really that famous out there? Really now? If I'm lying, may I be struck by lightning 5 times. With only 5 seconds left, Meiho Wang's face clearly showed anger as he continued in a low voice. If that's the case, then you deserve to die even more. Hearing this, Hishan was astonished, his eyes wide as he exclaimed, Great! Why? Because you humans are fundamentally unworthy of being my disciples. Just as the last second remained, Meiho Wang's fist swung down, creating a massive explosion that shook the entire area. As the smoke gradually cleared, he looked around in surprise, wondering, what happened? Where's that human? Isn't that kid immortal? At this he turned to look behind him, his mouth agape in surprise. In front of him now was the back of the protagonist exuding an aura as he spoke. As expected of the 12 peak grandmasters. Truly terrifyingly strong. Seeing this, Meiho Wang's face turned fearful, breaking out in a cold sweat as he thought, what the hell is this situation? Why this familiar feeling? While he was still astonished, the protagonist suddenly disappeared from the cliff, surprising everyone there. Immediately after, Hishan appeared behind Liu Yuan, whacked him on the butt with a staff and said loudly, Old immortal, didn't you just want to refine this young master into a blood-chi pill? Come here and punch quickly. Didn't you say the big fish eats the small fish? Where was your arrogant strength just now? The old man, now beaten black and blue by Hishan, hurriedly begged for mercy. Senior, I was wrong. This Zun duo was wrong. Meiho Wang, standing nearby, was looking at the two with a dazed expression, completely stunned. Then his expression turned incomparably sinister, his bright eyes wide with excitement as he spoke. This is a bit interesting. All right, don't waste time with that trash. Come here and play with this king for a bit. Hearing this, Hishan was also a bit surprised, glancing at Meiho Wang and his dragon with a cold expression. Just as he was about to rush in and give him a beating, a loud voice echoed from the sky. Audacious beast. When everyone looked up, they saw a figure with an extremely powerful aura forming a circle around their body. Old Liu Yuan, recognizing it was an acquaintance, immediately opened his mouth wide and exclaimed, Immortal! Unexpectedly, it's a true immortal. Immortal, please save me. With that, the old man pointed at the protagonist and laughed loudly. Ha ha ha, a true immortal from Tiangong has descended to the mortal realm. You demons and monsters are definitely dead. The immortal above also smiled and chimed in. Not wrong, not wrong. You bunch of beasts. Seeing a high immortal from Tiangong, why don't you kneel? Tiangong. It's just a pile of feathers. When this old master has free time later, I'll carve it up there and surpass you all. With that, Meiho Wang raised his hand, gathering a stream of golden light for an immobilization spell. Then he shot a rope straight at the immortal, tying him up, while the immortal maintained a calm expression. He then glanced down at Meiho Wang with a disdainful expression, sneered, and replied, You who don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Is this all the skill you have? Then let this revered one do it gently. As he spoke, the immortal strained backward, trying to break the rope. But looking again, he saw it was still on him, and his expression stiffened, standing there dazed for a moment. Then he tensed his butt muscles and tried again. Following that were more and more attempts, writhing back and forth, his face no longer calm as before. Realizing he couldn't break free, he accepted the truth and thought in panic, what the hell is going on? This young master has been in seclusion for several years. Have the demon beasts of the lower realm all become this strong? At the same time, Meiho Wang's dragon also appeared, opening its drool-filled mouth wide. Hey. I was just passing by and wanted to act tough, that's all. Before the immortal could finish his sentence, the dragon had chomped him down, leaving nothing behind, only a voice echoing out. Fellow Taoists showing off down there, be extremely careful. Liu Yue, standing below, witnessed the scene, his face drained of blood, sweat pouring down like rain as he stammered. Hi! Is the high immortal gone just like that? Isn't this too perfunctory, author? At the same time, on the dragon's side, after swallowing the immortal's body whole, it also evolved to everyone's astonishment. Meiho Wang, standing nearby, saw this and smiled with a hint of surprise. It can break through too. Old Liu Yuan on this side had no strength left and lay on his back, helpless in the current situation. At the same time, from the dark clouds, a dragon's head changed in color, began to emerge, growling a few times. When the clouds completely disappeared, its entirely new and powerful appearance was revealed, causing those below to exclaim in astonishment. Oh my god, it's really as big as Hua Guoshan? Wow, haha. Unexpectedly, it mutated and evolved into the Shi'er Qi Long Wang. Refreshing. Damn, this feels so good. Now I'm the master. Even that stinky monkey is no longer. Just as the dragon thought this, a giant golden bandit staff appeared above its head, crashing straight down. Seeing this, it didn't know what to do but exclaim in panic and confusion. What the hell is that? Immediately after, at Hua Guoshan's location, a large-scale explosion erupted, shaking the entire surrounding forest. The first 12-winged flying dragon in history also vanished at the age of 765, leaving only a pool of blood at the bottom of the pit. Witnessing the scene, Mei Wong and the others were stunned for 5 seconds before speaking in trembling voices. Hua Guoshan has also vanished. Where are we sleeping tonight? The protagonist standing nearby could only scratch his head and force a laugh, replying, "Ha ha ha, my bad. This is the first time using this Ruyi Jingu Bang. The size isn't easy to control. Oh dear mother. Even if I added more staff, my grandparents couldn't handle it." After thinking, he turned to He Xian and spoke firmly. "Relying on weapons doesn't count as being a hero, you know? If you have skills, let's fight hand-to-hand. Hand-to-hand combat. All right then. What do you want to compete in, strength, speed, or endurance? You choose whatever you think you're best at. This revered one can do it all. Got plenty of ideas. You just have a slightly more powerful weapon. What are you showing off for? Then this king will use my unparalleled speed to abuse you." Hearing this, he tried to appear calm on the outside, but couldn't help but snicker inwardly and exclaim, "You stupid stinky monkey. I am your future. What I'm best at, I'm not even sure myself." At this moment, Mei Wang in front of him exuded an aura and continued to speak. At the end of the continent, Penglai Xiandao Penglai Immortal Island birthed an infinite colorful lotus. Do you know about it? Of course I know. Very good. Then whoever gets a petal of the infinite colorful lotus first wins. With that, he didn't even give a signal and rushed forward, leaving the protagonist behind. Then he summoned his somersault cloud and flew away. In an instant, he disappeared into the sky, only his last words echoing back, "This old sun is one step ahead." Liu Yuan and his subordinates standing to one side saw this and couldn't help but exclaim in astonishment, their mouths agape. "Penglai Xiandao. It's estimated to be millions of miles away." At this, the old man also turned to look towards the protagonist, but didn't see him, and was once again astonished, continuing, "That monkey has disappeared too." Not long after, at the Penglai Xianbao, Penglai Immortal Treasure Complex, Mei Wang's somersault cloud landed straight down below with an explosion. He on this side fell from the somersault cloud and had to land face first, sliding a long distance. Then he quickly stood up, pointed at the somersault cloud, and shouted, "You damn bastard! Every time you fly, you don't care how you land, right? Are you doing it on purpose? This damn cloud is clearly doing it on purpose." After shouting, Mei Wang finally began to notice the petals of the infinite colorful lotus. Then he sneered with a smug expression. "Ha ha ha, as expected, all 28 petals of the infinite colorful lotus are still here." Half an incense stick's time later, when he returned, he saw the protagonist standing with hands on hips, having waited there for a long time. He then began to taunt him. "This won't do, you know. Coming back this late. This revered one arrived long ago." Mei Wang, still aching from the fall caused by the somersault cloud, looked away and replied, "This king just happened to have some other business to attend to, that's all. Afraid of falling again, so I chose to fly back myself. Don't act all high and mighty there. So what if I arrived early?" Hearing this, He Xian, still with a calm expression, sneered and continued, "If you can't get a petal of the Thao-Lin grass lotus, you still lose." Hearing this, Mei Wang began to raise his arm, summoning an entire Thao-Lien plant, and said loudly, Oh, how do you know this revered one hasn't gotten it? That's because this king went ahead of you and put all the petals of the Tai-Lin colorful lotus in my bag." Oh my god. Unexpectedly, it's really the infinite colorful lotus of Penglai Xiandao. You got it in just a short incense stick's time. The female monkeys on this side were all looking at Mei Wang with infatuated eyes, exclaiming, "Unbelievable. As expected of the great king, he truly is a god." The protagonist standing nearby looked at his long nose with a disgusted expression and remained silent for a moment. Then he raised his hand, rubbed his head, laughed loudly and replied, "Ha ha ha ha, what's this supposed to be? Just doing it conveniently along the way, that's all? Ha ha ha, then stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and admit defeat. But there's a reason why this revered one couldn't get the Tai-Lin. Because I truly didn't expect this body to be so fast. As soon as I ran up, I immediately attracted the attention of all the gods and Buddhas. To ensure safety, I had to stop quickly. Not going to get the Tai-Lin." Those standing nearby heard this and looked at him with wide, astonished eyes, half believing and half doubting. Mei Wang at this moment couldn't help but burst out laughing. "Ha ha ha, you're quite good at bragging too. But gods and Buddhas are paying attention. Why don't you just say the Yu Huangdadi saw you and was so scared he fell down? If you can really do that, this king will do a handstand for you to see." He Sen, hearing him challenge him like that, didn't reply immediately but calmly picked his nose. Then he got into a preparatory stance and spoke. "It's true. It was very dangerous just now. Do I still have to perform again?" At this he glanced at Mei Wang with a confident expression. "Watch carefully, don't close your eyes." With that, He Xian shot forward like a flash of light, causing the ground to sink where he passed. He Xian was now running in circles around a nearby piece of land, causing a circle to appear. His speed increasing rapidly, created a giant vortex with the power to destroy everything in its path. Everyone witnessing the scene was wide-eyed and speechless. At the same time, a bloodshot eye appeared in the sky, gradually opening. Following it were hundreds of other eyes wide open, looking down below. Mei Wang, witnessing this, couldn't help but exclaim in astonishment just 2 words, "Damn it." Hsien then stopped running and landed in front of him. His expression now was not much different from the others, as he thought, is unleashing full power like this too exaggerated? Luckily, I have a trick to deceive the eyes. Next time I can't use it carelessly. Too dangerous. At this moment, the young Wang felt an emotion he had never experienced since jumping out of the stone. Then he realized what this emotion was called, the emotion of disappointment. Ding ding. Congratulations, host, for successfully increasing the young Wukong's potential by 5%. Current potential value 15%. Wang now sat dejectedly on the ground, a disappointed expression on his face as he spoke. I lost. But I'm not convinced. You definitely relied on those luxurious items on you. Winning without using martial arts. If you say so, can I lend you my equipment to try on? That way you won't have any more excuses, right? Ha ha ha. All right. Then give it here. Watch me beat you into a pile of crap. At this he suddenly stopped, blushed, and unexpectedly remembered something. Then he turned back to the protagonist and continued. How about I spare you today first? We'll fight again some other day. Little brother, let's go. Hearing this, he was a bit surprised, glaring at him with a confused expression, question marks appearing above his head. His subordinates standing nearby were also surprised and spoke up in unison. Boss, this is a golden opportunity. That's right. If you exchange equipment, he's definitely no match for you. Boss, Hua Guoshan is gone. Boss, you must take revenge. Otherwise, how will you face our ancestors? All right, I know. So annoying, it's killing me. Give me the equipment. I'll go over there and change. Seeing him change his mind so quickly, Hsien frowned, looking at him with a probing gaze, feeling that something was very strange about this. A moment later, Wang hid behind the rubble and began to take off his clothes, placing them on the ground. Then he hurriedly took off the rest, urging himself, change quickly. If I'm discovered, I'm dead. But as he looked up, he saw the protagonist already standing there, covering his mouth and giggling. He was stunned for 5 seconds, his eyes wide, not knowing what to say, and thought, screwed. I'm screwed. Hsien then ran away, clutching his stomach, pointing at him and bursting into laughter. Ha ha ha, you. Come back here. Stop for this, old master. But as he finished speaking, Wang realized something, immediately stopped and turned his head to look beside him. In front of him were his subordinates, staring at his naked body with surprised, speechless expressions. All their eyes were focused on a tattoo of cute teddy bears on their boss's bicep. Even the 3 Lu Yuan and his men standing nearby couldn't help but exclaim in astonishment, Is this the Demon King's tattoo? Oh, mother. Wang, now enraged, scolded all of them. What are you laughing at? Is there something so funny? On what basis can a Demon King have a cute tattoo? Hey boss, calm down a bit. No one is laughing at you. You're just being too sensitive. Wang then, feeling wronged, curled up on the ground, tears streaming down his dejected face. On what basis can't a man like cute things? How can this old master face anyone when I go back? How will they still obey me? After half an incense stick's time, Wang had finished putting on the protagonist's clothes and stepped onto a nearby rock. Then he closed his eyes tightly, trying to calm himself. Don't think anymore. Focus entirely on the battle. The next second, his entire body exuded an extremely powerful aura, rushing towards Hsien, who was standing nearby. Wang then glanced down at him and laughed loudly. Ha 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 ha, as expected, it's an equipment issue. Go die. With that, he, at a speed several times faster than before, rushed straight towards the protagonist without hesitation. Then he raised his Ruijing Ubang and began to swing it down with a loud roar. Hsien, standing opposite, didn't mind and raised his fist with a calm expression. What should I name this punch? Let's just call it a normal punch. Wang, seeing this, spoke disdainfully. A move with 100,000 openings, how can it defeat me? As he finished speaking, their moves clashed, causing the surrounding ground to shatter into small pieces. Even from a distance in the air, the shockwave was clearly visible. In that instant of the contest, everything like flower, desolation, suffering, consciousness, trust, writing unknown things, communication, reason, hope, and hundreds of thousands of other things simultaneously appeared in Wang's mind, causing him to clutch his head in pain and scream. The young Wukong seemed to have seen through all truths. But it was like losing everything. Returning to the present, he was lying at the bottom of a giant crater created by the protagonist's normal punch. Wang below now opened his eyes wide with a dazed expression, his body covered in wounds. Hsien, standing at the edge of the crater, saw him wake up, smiled, and said, Can't understand it, right? What you just experienced is called Tao principles. It's a kind of realm power. Hearing this, he immediately jumped up and hurriedly asked, How can I achieve it? Your martial Tao is too obsessed with perfection. Whether you're pursuing the strongest weapon or an eternal immortal method, you've ignored the fact that the great Tao is not yet complete. Only by abandoning perfection and simultaneously accepting reason and chaos can the true great Tao artistic conception be born. At that time, martial Tao will no longer be just mere skill but art, a realm. After hearing those words, Wang's entire body seemed to fall into a certain void, constantly muttering, The great Tao is not yet complete. What does it mean for the great Tao to be incomplete? In the mist, Wukong only felt something inside him collapsing, and with it appeared a large, tightly closed door. Inside was something he had never imagined. It was a new path. Wukong's potential value successfully increased to 30%. Congratulations, host, for completing the mission. The system rewards you with a peak character card Naja. Seeing this, Shen accepted it with tears of joy. Unexpectedly, every mission reward is a peak character card. So happy, my safety is finally guaranteed. At the same time, Mei Wong approached, knelt before him, and pleaded. Great Lord is my benefactor. Please accept me as your disciple. Please. Accepting a disciple isn't impossible, but you must meet one condition of mine. Just say it. No matter what it is, I can meet it. Very simple. From now on, you are not allowed to interact with anything cute anymore. Hearing this, his expression changed, and he stood there dazed for a moment. Then he looked at the protagonist with a dissatisfied expression and exclaimed, Hey, hey, hey! What kind of request is that? Hehe. As long as you swear I will accept you as my disciple. Becoming a true man or a strange wife is your choice. Faced with these two extremely important choices, Mei Wong's face turned purple, his hands and feet trembling, speechless. Then he slammed his fist on the ground in pain and replied, Forgive me, great lord. I cannot. I also know that strong people shouldn't have strange hobbies, but I can't resist. I can't resist, you understand. Sen, seeing his expression, couldn't help but try to cover his mouth and giggle. Then he approached, put him in a headlock, smiled, and continued. Just kidding, you fool. We have the right to like anything as long as it doesn't harm anyone. Damn it. Those bastards who dared to laugh at you? If anyone dares to call you strange later, Master will go with you and beat those bastards to death. At this, the protagonist scratched his butt, walked away, and called back. What are you still dazed for? Hurry up! Yes, master! At this time, the remaining crowd behind also rushed after him, shouting loudly, Great Lord, we also want to acknowledge you as master, us too, enough, enough, enough. More people just means more danger. That's right. Having said that, I must also say, what on earth happened to this world? The Ho Wang servant is clearly a Western creature. Even the formations are similar. And the local people don't feel it strange at all. It's like they've gotten used to it from practicing so much, right? Doesn't that mean the mysterious Western organizations will suddenly invade in 700 years? So what's happening now? While Shen was still wondering, the system suddenly appeared, causing him to jump back and shout, Oh mother, can you stop appearing so suddenly? My heart can't take it. Third mission. Form a team with the young female war god. Zhou Tianxuan NV and increase potential by 30%. The first female war god in history. Zhou Tianxuan NV. Your reputations are truly terrifying. Scene change to that night at the magnificent and luxurious main hall of NV Guo Women's Kingdom. Inside is a four-dimensional space with countless formations of various sizes. On this side is a demon king tied up by chains from those formations. He then turned to look at a figure sitting on a nearby chair and spoke as expected of a country's monarch. Truly not on the same level as those minor sects and factions. The woman he mentioned is the queen of Guo. Queen Shi Liang, sitting on this side, also began to reply, 3 days of hard battle to capture you, demon king. No need to struggle anymore. The demon king now gradually transformed his body into a skeleton, with 2 bloodshot eyes trying to escape the chains. Even if you turn into a pile of dry bones, you can't escape. Once the Tianji Heavenly Secret Grand Formation is formed, no one in this entire cultivation world can dispel it. This king is this confident. The continent's #1 formation is indeed not an empty reputation. But what if this king says, I have grasped the true power of the realm? Just as he finished speaking, another dimension appeared from under Shi Liang's feet, to her astonishment. Immediately after, with its extremely strong suction force, it easily pulled Shi Liang's entire body inside. Inside now was another dimension, dark as ink, along with the demon king's voice. How about it? Very magical, right? This is this king's realm power, domain of power. In here, this king is the true god, the lord of all existence. At this, he tied her up, just as she had done to him. And you can only let this king arrange things. Ha, you lost. From today onwards, the entire NVR Guo Women's Empire will be my toy. Of course, you're included too. My beloved queen. Scene change to 7 days later in the outskirts of NVR Guo. Shen's back is seen approaching step by step. He is now looking at the city gate in front of him with a dejected expression. Can I see NVR Guo already? I really don't want to complete the mission at all. Mei Wong, hiding behind a rock, peeked out half his face and spoke in a weary tone. Master, do you really want to transform into this form? Are you done transforming yet? Quickly let me see. He then stepped out in a chibi form, blushing shyly, and replied, I like cute things, but isn't this a bit too much? At this, Wukong couldn't take it anymore, covered his face with both hands, and said loudly, Damn, it's so embarrassing. What's there to be embarrassed about? Didn't I tell you already? This is part of cultivation. You'll understand later. When has Master ever harmed you? So lovely. Actually, Shen's inner thought was to bring along such a harmless mascot. The chance of direct enemy encounters is reduced by 50%. While the two were talking, someone was secretly observing their every move from behind a nearby rock. He then, with an extremely cunning expression, smiled smugly and continued to observe with sharp eyes. The old man then, along with another person, appeared and approached the two, smiling as he spoke. You two esteemed sirs look unfamiliar. You must be travelers visiting here for the first time, right? Such a tiring journey here, you must need a place to stay, right? There's entertainment too, you know. Hearing this, the protagonist stood dazed for a moment, not yet processing the old man's recent words. Then a scene of the red light district from his world flashed in his mind, and sweat poured out endlessly. He said, "What the hell are you thinking? Don't bring your dark thoughts into a pure cultivation world like this. How can another world have that? Definitely not." Before he could calm himself, the old man continued to approach, whispering in his ear, "All young and beautiful maidens, huh?" Hearing this, all the dark thoughts in Hexian's mind were 100% confirmed, along with his dazed, questioning expression. He then quickly darted away, waving his hands in refusal. "No, no, no need. I'm not of age yet." The old man now revealed a sinister expression and continued, "To be frank with you, esteemed guests, Guo is already in the hands of our great lord. All the beauties in this entire province can do as you wish." Hearing this, Hexian was a bit surprised, stopped, and wondered. In his hands? The old man then took out a treasure pearl, presented it to him, and replied, "If you don't believe it, take a look at this." At this moment, the treasure pearl in the old man's hand began to project images of girls with full figures in various poses, as if calling out to the protagonist. Seeing this, his expression turned astonished, frowning in disbelief. "If you're not satisfied enough, if you want more excitement, we have that too." The more he spoke, the more smug his face became, with an evil aura surrounding his body. "As for the extent, there's nothing we won't do that you can't think of." Wukong at this point couldn't listen anymore, gritted his teeth and shouted angrily, "You damn scoundrels, bastards!" As he finished speaking, his fist landed squarely on the old man's snout. The old man, one cheek swollen, said in surprise and haste, What are you doing?" Wukong then jumped on the old man, grabbing his throat with one hand, raising his other fist. "What am I doing? Of course I'm carrying out heaven's will." Just before his next fist landed, Hexian, standing to one side, quickly spoke up to stop him. Wukong stopped quickly. "Ha ha ha, my apologies. My disciple doesn't understand things and has offended you. We'll leave right now." At this, he carried his disciple, dashed off, waved goodbye, and said he wouldn't see them again. The old man, sitting on the rock behind, looked at the old man in front of him and asked curiously, "Just let them go like that?" The old man, now recovered from the wound on his face, looked at the protagonists retreating back and replied, "Forget it. That weakling isn't the person we're looking for." A while later, after the two had gone quite a distance. But Wukong was still fuming about what just happened and didn't even look at the protagonist, frowning as he looked ahead. The protagonist, standing nearby, also noticed. This turned to look at him, smiled, and said, "What's wrong?" Angry. "No. If what he said is true, his boss has occupied the entire Guo. With such powerful strength, do you think he really needs to go out on the streets to solicit customers? I think they're spreading information in a small area, waiting for someone to take the bait." Hearing him say that, Wukong didn't think much of it and asked dazedly, "Is it true Guo is probably just bait? They have other bigger plans. But no matter what, we have to kill those old scumbags. So don't alert the enemy by rash actions." Wukong now also knelt before the protagonist and said loudly, "It was my mistake, master. This disciple actually misunderstood you as a timid mouse afraid of trouble. I even dared to suspect that your previous strength was just an act. This disciple deserves death. Please punish me." Hexian, hearing this, blushed with embarrassment, covered his mouth, waved his hand, and replied, "Ha ha ha, how could that be? How could master be such a person? All right, don't waste any more time. Let's go into the city. Quick battle, quick victory. I'll listen to everything master says." While the two were happily talking, a voice echoed from behind, "Hey, you two perverts over there! All your accomplices have been defeated. Where do you think you can run?" Hexian, hearing this, turned his head with a dazed expression, not understanding what was happening. He then noticed two puppets with familiar shapes and thought, "It's those two from before. What kind of magic is that?" At the same time, the system panel also displayed a notification, "Congratulations, host, for finding the target." The young Jutian Xuan envy-eyed. Seeing this, his expression changed, his eyes wide, as he turned to look at her, sweat pouring down like rain, as he stammered, She's Jutian Xuan, envy." Xuan Nivi, standing nearby, was enraged, gritting her teeth, staring at the two of them and continuing, "Using women as toys. You scumbags have pushed this young lady to her limit." With that, she also held her sword and dashed towards the protagonist. He on the opposite side saw this and exclaimed in panic, his mouth agape, "Big sister, can you listen to my explanation for a sentence or two?" At the same time, Wukong, behind him, suffering from severe combat disorder, replied with an excited expression, "Master, what is there to explain?" At this, he also charged straight towards Xuan Envy, his bloodshot eyes raised, his fist up. Just before Wukong's fist landed, Xuan Envy was one step faster, swinging her sword and slashing him multiple times. But immediately after she realized something was wrong, quickly turned her head to look behind her. That's a clone." The real Wukong now began to charge from another direction with a smug expression, saying, "Good reaction, woman." At this, he raised his fist, which was enveloped in a stream of true ki. Unfortunately, it's too late. With that, Wukong landed an extremely powerful blow, sending Xuan Envy flying and crashing into the ground, creating a large explosion. As the smoke gradually cleared, it revealed her lying motionless at the bottom of the large crater. But Xuan Envy wasn't so easily defeated, and now struggled to sit up. Wukong, standing nearby, saw this, his expression turning excited as he said loudly, "Very good. You can still move after taking a direct punch from me. Then let this king..." Before he could finish his sentence, he was punched in the mouth by Xuan Envy and sent flying. Next, he took the full force of her Lishang Jian Wu, departing sorrow sword dance technique, causing blood to splatter in the air. Wukong, seeing this, couldn't help but be astonished, one eye wide, as he thought, damn it, she hit me even with such a short attack time. So fast. Just as he finished thinking, he was knocked down, sprawling on the ground. Wukong then gritted his teeth, endured the pain, and struggled to stand up, looking towards Zhuan Nevi. She, standing opposite, was also touching the wound he had inflicted, silent. Hishan on this side was astonished, his mouth agape, worrying and thinking, this woman is too strong. In just 2 rounds, she could injure Wukong so badly. Thinking of this, he placed his hand on his forehead, trying to calm himself. Calm down, calm down. Now is not the right time to use the card. After thinking, he quickly ran to Wukong's side and said, Monkey, are you okay? Can you do it? This woman is extraordinarily strong. If it were before, it would be really difficult. But now I have Master's great Dao realm. This disciple will definitely win. Hearing this, Hishan immediately stopped, glancing at him with an astonished expression. Then he lost his composure and exclaimed, What? You mean you've learned realm power? Yes, Master. Seeing his disciple affirm it, he decisively raised his hand in refusal and replied, How can that be impossible? It's true. Although I can't be like Master casting, it should be no problem. If you don't believe it, just watch carefully. With that, Wukong immediately used all his strength, tensing up his bloodshot eyes full of killing intent. Then his mouth began to mutter. The great Dao was originally incomplete. Understand chaos. Accept chaos. Xuan Envy, standing in front, witnessed this and was astonished, her mouth agape, wondering, What's this aura? Wukong then clasped his hands together and recited a final sentence. Fuse with chaos. As soon as he finished speaking, he exuded an extremely powerful aura, causing the surrounding ground to crack. At this moment, Wukong had successfully fused the 2 powers, creating a glowing orb in his palm. Hishan, standing nearby, was so astonished his face contorted as he thought, Holy cow, it's really great Dao power. This kid only saw it once. This comprehension ability is too heaven-defying. Wukong's expression now turned murderous, his bloodshot eyes full of killing intent, exuding an extremely powerful pressure. Xuan Envy, standing opposite him, was also worried, breaking out in a cold sweat as she thought, Not good. This feeling isn't good at all. A small light orb also made Xuan Envy feel something she had never experienced before. That was pressure. She now hurriedly raised her arm and quickly cast a spell. I must respond with all my strength immediately. Otherwise I'll die. After thinking, Xuan Envy also used her wine technique to create treasure swords around her. Next, she got into a stance, pointing her sword tip towards Wukong and unleashed her Guishe ghost technique. Immediately, the treasure swords behind her all rushed forward, clashing evenly with Wukong's great Dao power. Hishan, witnessing this, was once again astonished, not believing his eyes, and exclaimed, Normal strength, but the pressure is no less than realm power. Wukong, standing on this side, creating another light orb with his hand, also replied, No. That's not the pressure of that woman herself. It's from those swords beside her. Each one is a legendary divine artifact. Damn it! I thought I understood her strength already. But compared to Master's strength, it's still not worth mentioning. Come on, let's... Before Wukong could finish his sentence, he suddenly felt something and stopped. At this moment, all the great Dao power began to stir chaotically within his body. His eyes then rolled back, gradually losing his ability to fight. Screwed, I'm about to lose control. At this moment, from Wukong's position, an extremely powerful aura erupted, pushing those nearby back. After that explosion, he was also exhausted and fell forward weakly, saying, Damn it, almost got it. But before he could finish, his face slammed into the ground, making him unable to speak further. Hishan, from a distance, hurriedly ran over worriedly and said loudly, Monkey, are you okay? Master, I'm fine. It's just that my body is temporarily immobile. Realm power is too strong. I couldn't control it and suffered a backlash. Then that's good. Practice a bit more and you'll definitely get it. As long as you're okay, that's all that matters. At the same time, Xuan Envy was standing on a tree branch behind the 2, her eyes full of killing intent as she spoke. Unexpectedly, the Yinmo Da Wang's lust demon great king subordinate can also have such strength. It was I who underestimated the enemy. Seeing her about to attack the protagonist, panicked and quickly raised his hand to stop her, saying loudly, Wait a moment! Female hero, you've misunderstood. We are not subordinates of the Yinmo Da Wang, as you say. Wukong, lying behind, heard this and angrily interjected, Master, don't waste words on her, just fight her directly. Hishan didn't let him finish and immediately kicked him in the middle of his face, shouting, Fight, fight your head, all you know every day is fighting and killing. Use your brain a little. After speaking, he turned his head to look at Xuan. Envy smiled apologetically and thought, The peak card's duration is 10 minutes. For now, the main combatant monkey is temporarily out of commission. I must definitely win over this Xuan Envy first. Act like a worm for now, then act when there's a chance. After thinking, Hishan looked up at her and continued, Female hero. Actually, we are also righteous people like you. We intended to come to Envy Erguo to save people. You must have such intentions too, right? Of course. You say you're not their accomplices, huh? Then where's the proof? Proof, indeed, I don't have. But I trust a beautiful female hero like a flower. Majestic posture. Refreshing sarcasm like yours, you surely wouldn't do something as laughably sinful as suspecting us, right? After seeing Xuan Envy say nothing, he continued to talk endlessly, shamelessly, flattering her to the heavens. After hearing those words, she was a bit flustered and replied, That's a matter of course. This young lady has always preferred to mistakenly spare someone rather than mistakenly kill someone. But if you have no proof, it's not reasonable for me to spare you. Female hero, don't panic. We have a way. How about letting us enter the city with you? If there's anything suspicious, you can kill us directly. Juan NV, hearing those words, was completely led by the nose, rubbed her head, and stammered in reply. It seems not bad. All right, we shouldn't delay. You follow me. As you command. Oh, right. I'm used to coming and going alone. I don't like outsiders getting close. Please stay more than 2 zhang away from me. He Shen then unconcerned comfortably approached, put his arm around her shoulder, smiled, and replied, Don't be so cold. We're comrades in arms now, after all. Juan NV, seeing this, her face darkened, and she shot a sharp glance at his hand. Immediately after, she swung her sword down in a slash, shouting loudly, Let go of me! He Shen, having just dodged that blow, was looking down at a crater at his feet with a panicked expression, not daring to make a sound. Then, unable to stay long, he scurried away with a fake smile on his face and replied, All right. More than 2 zhang here. A while later, as the three were walking on the road at a certain distance, Wukong spoke in a low voice. Such a cold personality plus so many divine artifacts. She must be that NVR Jianmo Women's Kingdom Sword Demon. Sword Demon. That's right. Sword Demon Lin Huang, huh? Master, haven't you heard of her before? Never heard of her. Who is she? Is she worth you being so serious? Sword Demon Lin Huang is one of the pinnacles of the contemporary Tiangong martial rankings. At the same time, she's also the only known member of the mysterious Shijia Sakya organization. Tiangong martial rankings of Sijia. What's that? I'm not sure about the specifics either. Probably the most powerful person in Tiangong. Not right. Someone of that rank couldn't have never encountered realm power. But just now she looked like she was seeing it for the first time. At this, He Xian wanted to get some information from Xuan NV and called out to her, Hey, female hero. Walking so far apart isn't good either. Aren't we supposed to fight side by side later? We also need to discuss strategies and tactics, right? How can we do that from so far away? Before the protagonist could finish, she interrupted him, surprising him. Who needs you to fight side by side with me? What? Wouldn't it be better to fight together? Monkey says in a bit he will. No need. I'll solve it myself with my own strength. I don't need others to interfere. Hearing this, both of them felt a bit dejected and didn't know what else to say. Wukong then couldn't contain his anger and shouted, You're so young, what are you showing off for? On what basis do you think you can do it yourself? He Shen at this point didn't let him say. More quickly covered his mouth, forced a laugh, and whispered, All right, don't say any more. Juan NV, walking ahead, also spoke up. I also didn't say I would definitely win. If I lose and die, it will naturally be your turn to act. But until then, I don't need help. Hearing this, he could only remain silent and watch her walk forward step by step, looking at the indifferent back in front of him. For some reason, He Shen suddenly felt an indescribable loneliness. After walking for a while, all three arrived at the gate of Tuer Guo Disciples' kingdom. He Shen now, with a curious expression, looked at it and thought, I wonder what the scenery behind this gate will be like. At the same time, Juan NV also turned her head to look at both of them and spoke. Let me remind you again, my business doesn't need others to interfere. Understood. Guaranteed not to interfere. Extremely enjoy watching drama unfold eating melon. Very safe. After giving instructions, Juan NV pushed the gate and entered. As the gate opened, her expression immediately turned angry, frowning at the scene before her. Opposite the three was a demon beast with a strange appearance exuding an aura around its body. It then approached the three and began to speak, Ayah, another group of fools has arrived. He Shen, seeing it, his face immediately turned panicked, sweat pouring down like rain, as he thought, it's Demon King level. Monkey can't guarantee his own safety now. I need to think of a way for Juan NV to fight while protecting me. Wukong beside him was also looking at the demon beast with a disgusted expression and spoke, Can we kick these insects out of the demon race? Damn, it's so disgusting, I want to die. While the two hadn't yet recovered their senses, Xuan NV, holding her sword, quickly dashed towards the demon beast. Hey, big sister. Don't charge forward so fast. I haven't even thought of a plan yet. What if the Demon King attacks from behind? At the same time, the demon beast also opened its mouth. Then it shot all the energy beams with terrifying destructive power straight down at Juan NV. Immediately, those energy beams from the demon beast crashed into the ground, creating dozens of large explosions. As the smoke cleared, it revealed dozens of craters of various sizes on the ground, caused by the explosions. The demon beast now continued to open its drool-filled mouth and said loudly, Ugly human, another one out of 1,000 dies at my hands. While the demon beast was still smug, Juan NV's sharp, murderous eyes appeared from within the smoke, staring at it. Next, she shot past the demon beast's head like a flash of lightning, leaving a large hole there, not stopping so easily. Juan NV continued with a few more strikes, making the demon beast's entire body look like a beehive. Its body then exploded in mid-air, splattering a large amount of blood everywhere. The protagonist, standing nearby, witnessed this, and was stunned, not believing his eyes. Just one strike, the Demon King vanished too. At the same time, applause echoed from the sky along with a hoarse voice, Ayah, what a pity. Hearing this, He Shen's group all turned in surprise to look in the direction of the voice. In the sky now was a figure with an extremely powerful aura surrounding his body who continued to speak. My most adorable and smug little pet. Just one slash from you and it was instantly killed. As expected of the sword demon's bloodline. Shen Envy, standing below with a slightly surprised expression, asked curiously, "Do you know my father?" "Not just acquainted. He and I are sworn enemies. If I can't beat the old man, this lowly one will take out a blade and slash. How about it? Am I very shameless, right?" At this, he raised both hands to the sky and burst out laughing. "Ha ha 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 ha, domain power. Open." The three Heshian's group standing below witnessed this with a shared expression of astonishment and exclaimed, "This is realm power." The Demon King then looked down at the three, smiled smugly, and continued, "Let me tell you, in this domain, this king is an absolutely invincible existence. Just moving one finger is enough to take your life." At this, he waved his hand, controlling his spiritual energy ropes to bind Xuan Envy's body. Then he glanced at the other two behind her with excitement on his face. A mortal, a heavily injured Demon King. This combination, you can't handle it. While the Demon King wasn't paying attention, Xuan Envy, though tied up, still raised her arm and began to cast a spell in response. "I don't need others to save me." At this moment, treasure swords with extremely powerful pressure gradually appeared in the sky, pointing downwards. She then immediately roared, breaking the ropes around her body, her eyes shining brightly. The Demon King, witnessing this, was astonished, his mouth agape as he exclaimed, "How can this be? We're in my domain. There's no absolute invincibility in this world. It's just great power, that's all. But this entire sword formation created by divine artifacts is enough to fight you. Compared to that monkey, this strength of yours is still full of weaknesses." Wukong on this side heard this, his expression turning smug as he replied, Hey, of course. How can it compare to my master?" Heshian, hearing this, became angry and quickly covered his mouth, shouting, "Shut up! What if he hears and attacks us?" The Demon King now also landed on the ground using his Kulu High Skull Sea Demon technique to create dozens of ferocious skulls with bloodshot eyes all aimed at Xuan Envy. He then immediately controlled all of them to rush towards her at high speed. Xuan Envy, seeing this, wasn't scared at all, frowned and replied, "What's the use of having a large number?" With that, she raised her sword and used her Jian Qi, Yingdi Fei Wu cherry blossom butterfly flying dance, created countless cherry blossom petals. Then she struck them all towards the skulls of the Demon King that were rushing towards her. The two sides' techniques clashed immediately, creating a series of large explosions in the air. Heshian also felt this and asked Wukong beside him, "Both sides are very strong. Hasn't Monkey recovered yet?" "Not yet, master. Damn it. To ensure safety, I should probably prepare to activate it right because the protagonist can't die." As he used the Naja card, the system also displayed a notification. "Naja card activated. Your Naja will be on the field in 5 minutes. Still, 5 minutes. Could it be that the system evolves every time a mission is completed? Returning to Xuan Envy's battle now, she was looking up at the skulls with disdain and spoke. So many openings. With that, Xuannam swung her sword, easily destroying those skulls. The Demon King now continued to raise his arm, gradually creating another skull. "At this moment, I'll give you this grand gift." With that, the skull in his hand grew larger, its bright eyes looking towards Xuannam. She on the opposite side had also dealt with the pile of skulls and rushed towards him. Then she began to stop and raised her sword, continuing, "Quantity doesn't equal. Then I can't lose even more." As soon as she finished speaking, a giant sword immediately appeared from the sky, crashing straight down onto the Demon King's skull. He, standing under the sword, also felt something unusual but didn't know he was facing that abnormality. Heshian and the other standing nearby witnessed this and couldn't help but exclaim in astonishment, "Oh my god, it's really no less than the Rui Jingubang. They're all divine artifacts after all." Xuan Envy now also coldly and decisively swung her sword down, shouting 2 words, "Huang Luo." Immediately, her giant sword also plunged straight down at the Demon King, causing a large explosion. He was suddenly ambushed and couldn't resist, only able to scream. A while later, as the smoke gradually cleared, it revealed the Demon King lying motionless in a large crater in the middle of the courtyard. A moment later, he began to struggle to stand up, speaking in a weak voice. "Damn it, it's not over yet." Xuan Envy, standing before him now, pointed her sword at his face with sharp eyes and ordered, "Raise your head, look into my eyes." With that, a formation appeared in her eyes, causing the Demon King to be hypnotized. His body was now bound by 2 giant swords beside him. Xuan Envy within his space was approaching step by step, her bloodshot eyes speaking. "If we're really talking about an absolute domain, my illusion technique is probably more accurate. Every second here is equivalent to a day. The mental pressure you have to endure is 100 times greater than outside." In a flash, 10 seconds passed, and the Demon King couldn't take it anymore, collapsing backward. His expression now turned gaunt and weary, lifeless. Xuan Envy then also felt it was enough and gradually dissipated it. Heshian and the other, witnessing this, couldn't help but exclaim in astonishment, whispering to each other, "What's going on? Why does it feel like the enemy just lost the will to fight?" It seems to be the rumored bloodline secret technique. It's said that only the peak individuals of the clan have this perverted ability. Exactly. Those eyes of hers are definitely it. Xuan Envy now looked down at the Demon King in his pitiful state at her feet and continued to speak. "Admit defeat. In your current state, you're no longer my opponent. As expected of the sword demon Enver, I long ago predicted I couldn't be your opponent. But have you ever thought why this king time and time again chose to fight you in Envy Erguo? Hearing this, her expression turned astonished, her eyes wide as she stared at him. The Demon King at this moment had regained his momentum, raised both hands to the sky, and said excitedly, "Of course it's because of the formation, you fool." At this moment, a giant formation of the Demon King began to appear in the sky along with lightning striking down. It didn't take long for him to create a formation under Zhuan Envy's feet. Next, he immediately activated the National Protection Grand Formation, creating another formation from the sky, gradually pressing down. Zhuan Envy was now also pressed down by its pressure, unable to move, only able to grit her teeth and endure. Ha ha ha, didn't expect it right. Verguo was bait from the beginning, and all their actions were to trap you in this grand formation. Using the strength of an entire nation, even the Sword Demon's descendant can't do anything. Zhuan Envy's eyes now shone again. She roared and escaped the formation he had created. Then she gritted her teeth and replied, sweat dripping down her face. "Then you underestimate me too much." With that, she unleashed her Shenwai Faxiang body, outside Dharma form technique. Qianshou Jianhuang, Thousand Hand, Sword Emperor created a Dharma form with dozens of arms holding weapons. The two young men standing nearby were once again astonished and said loudly, "What is this? I've never seen this Dharma technique before." But the nearby Demon King wasn't scared at all and smiled smugly. Zhuan Envy also saw this, flew into the air and continued to speak. So calm. "Are you confident enough to fight my Dharma form?" Joking. "Sword Demon, if you play your trump card, how can I—" "Then why are you so calm?" "Calm, huh? Of course it's because I've prepared thoroughly. Actually, this king has always been waiting for you to play this trump card." Hearing him say that, Zhuan Envy's expression turned surprised, frowning as she asked, "What did you say?" The Demon King didn't reply immediately but just smiled and began to cast his spell. Although he said nothing, Zhuan Envy also realized the problem, her expression immediately turning fearful and dark. Could it be? At this moment, the ring on her finger was gradually glowing in front of her fearful face. Immediately after, long, sharp bones pierced out from Zhuan Envy's chest, along with a formation of the Demon King surrounding her. Heshian and the other, witnessing this, were also astonished, their mouths agape, speechless. The Demon King on this side was joyfully clutching his face and giggling. "Ha ha 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 ha, success. As expected, success. Ha ha ha, didn't expect it right. This king actually managed to find the weakness of your trump card, which is your true body. After the Dharma form is created, if the true body suffers any damage, it will also collapse and suffer a backlash. With such a powerful Dharma form protecting you, weaknesses are considered nothing to fear. But what if this king's attack is from the inside?" Heshian, hearing this, thought back to the two puppets in the old man's form that Zhuan Envy had quickly defeated and realized. Zhuan Envy put them into her storage ring. That was a trap. The Demon King on this side approached Zhuan Envy step by step and continued. Dharma form backlash plus the suppression of the grand formation. "Now you truly—" At this, he immediately swung his hands, landing a flurry of punches all over her body without any mercy. The more he punched, the more excited he became, saying loudly, "You like using special magical artifacts to turn bad people into toys for punishment. How's my intelligence? Great young lady. You don't even dare to kill people, yet you want to be the descendant of the Zuemo blood demon, ha ha ha." At this moment, the Demon King pressed her head down to the ground disdainfully and continued, "Can't even last a moment anymore." Not stopping there, he continued to punch until he was satisfied. He looked at Zhuan Envy's pitiful state, unable to hide the smugness on his face, and asked further, "Hurts, doesn't it? Regret it, don't you? My clansmen felt the same way when they met your father that year. Not calling your accomplices for help. Want to die already?" She, lying before him, now resigned to her fate, replied indifferently, "I admit defeat. You do it. Ha ha ha, want me to do it? How can it be so easy? I must slowly torture you just like your father did that year." "No, no. It will be more cruel. Don't act like you don't care about all that damn stuff. Fear me, fear. Or should I cripple these white thighs of yours first as an appetizer before eating?" Just before the Demon King's blow to cripple Zhuan Envy's thighs landed, an external interference caused his technique to deviate in another direction. Seeing this, he flew into a rage and shouted, "Who is it?" At this moment, the person who appeared before him was the protagonist, transformed into Naja, currently riding a ring of fire on his feet. He then, like a gust of wind, rushed to hold Zhuan Nu in his arms, looked at her and spoke, "This guy really won't beg for mercy even if he's dying." Zhuan Nu was currently mesmerized by Heshian's cool and imposing face, her own face blushing. But a second later, she quickly pushed him away, struggling and shouting, "This presence, are you the kid from before transformed? Hey, don't move around so much, okay? I'm still not very good at standing on this ring." The Demon King, standing below, witnessing the scene, interjected with some surprise, "Kid, you're indeed not an ordinary mortal. But why didn't I sense any presence from you before? Detestable brat with an unknown origin. My body is too weak now. I must use all the remaining power of my realm for a quick victory. One strike to kill." After thinking this, he unleashed a full-power palm strike towards the two of them, exclaiming, "All of you die for me." Zhuan Nu, seeing this, her face turned panicked, and she quickly said, "It's the power of the realm, ignore me. Run quickly." Heshian, hearing this, glanced sharply behind him to see what was happening. "Want to compare realms with me, fine? Then I'll show you what a true realm is." As he finished speaking, he retaliated with a blow of his own, easily dispelling the Demon King's power. Zhuan Nu, witnessing this, widened her eyes and looked at the male lead with an astonished expression. Meanwhile, Wukong on this side was smiling, proudly pleased with his master. The nearby animals were also terrified and quickly hid behind a rock, trembling, not daring to make a sound. Hsien didn't stop there, but continued to create a Dharma image of himself with 3 heads and 6 wings. His entire body then began to glow as he looked down at Xuannu in his hand. As for the Demon King witnessing this scene, he was so terrified that he fell to the ground speechless. His face then softened, his eyes starting to well up with tears as he stammered. You. Hsien immediately landed opposite him, an excited expression on his face, interrupting, You. Speak. Though his mouth had been open for a while, the Demon King still couldn't utter a word. In his previous life, the Demon King was a giant carnivorous eel in an unnamed fish pond. Other small fish in the pond would either flee upon seeing it, or become its food. Even if a hegemon from elsewhere came in front of it, they couldn't escape such a fate. Gradually, it became an existence that other small fish dared not even discuss. Over time, life at the top of the food chain made it firmly believe it was the true strongest king of this world. Until one day, after a super strong storm hit, the entire lake was swept up into the clouds, and the great eel king saw something for the first time in his life. The scene before its eyes now was a vast ocean with swallows gliding through the sky. After falling into the seawater, it finally understood what true ocean hegemons were. At that time, it also gaped like that, staring for a long time, until it became food. Now, even though a long time had passed since that incident, it still made the Demon King once again recall the despair and insignificance of his past life and the humiliation of his self-righteousness. Returning to the present, the Demon King had bowed his head and knelt before Hsien. Great Lord, I surrender. Please spare me. In this life, I am willing to be your beast of burden at your command. Hearing this, his expression became dissatisfied as he thought to himself, Surrender. Are all my cards wasted like this? We haven't even fought yet and you're already surrendering. Without much thought, Hsien immediately advanced, grabbed him by the collar and shouted, Stop your damn nonsense! Get up and fight me! I dare not! I dare not! I am merely an ant before the Great Lord. Are you going to fight now or not? Fight or not, huh? Not fighting, I won't fight even if I die. On the other side, Naja Dingfeng's incredible power also left Xuannu in a daze for a long time. She had only ever felt this kind of power from one person. That was her father, starting from when she was young. Xuannu had followed her father to harsh and cold places to cultivate. But such a figure of stature always left her with only a distant back view. Even during meals or sleep, she wasn't allowed near. Her father told her solitude is the most important quality of the strong. Even if it was painful, she endured. Even if she couldn't understand, she always believed in her father. One day, as usual, Xuannu followed her father into a forest. Suddenly, she paused when she heard a sound coming from a nearby bush. Without much thought, she approached, parted the bushes with her hands, and curiously looked inside. It was a small fox looking at her with the innocent eyes of a child. One person, one fox, 4 eyes stared at each other silently for a long time. The fox then, without hesitation, stood up and joyfully ran towards her. That was the first time Xuannu had intimate contact with another living being. An unknown emotion surged into her heart. But a second later, her father's foot decisively stomped hard on the fox, causing blood to splatter everywhere. Not long after, its eyes rolled back and it stopped breathing. Xuannu, witnessing this, could only stare in astonishment at the fox's corpse with wide eyes. Her father, his eyes blazing with killing intent, looked at her and spoke. What are you doing? Do you want to keep it like those low-class people? What are you standing there for? Answer me quickly. The corners of Xuannu's eyes began to tear up in fear as she bowed her head and replied, Forgive me, father. You must remember, solitude and coldness are the best paths to greatness. No, it should be said the only way is correct. After that day, little Xuannu no longer dared to get close to or involved with any living creature. Day after day, year after year on the vast cursed ice, the small figure was always alone. Her father's words were indeed never wrong. She had indeed quickly grown stronger. It just seemed that something had been lost unconsciously. And now, looking at the unusual man before her, clearly the low-class personality her father spoke of possessed power no less than her father's. For the first time in her life, Xuannu felt doubt towards her great father. So she made a momentous decision right then. She approached Hsien, who was struggling, blushed, hesitated for a moment, then spoke up to ask, causing Hsien to stop and turn his head to look at her. Zhennu, her face still beet red, glanced away shyly and continued, Can you accept me as your disciple? Hearing that, the male lead's jaw dropped in shock as he asked back, Huh, what did you say? At the same time, the system also displayed a notification. The worldview of Jutian Xuannu has undergone a major change. Potential value increased to 35%. Congratulations on completing the mission. Immediately after, the system rewarded him with an extremely cool Yan Wong peak card. Holding the reward in his hand, Hsien's face was still bewildered, not understanding what was happening. The scene changes to an island floating in the sky called Wangdu Difu, capital of the underworld. At this moment, inside the palace city, 2 figures are talking to each other. This platinum-haired young man is holding a gem in his hand, showing it to the person in front of him. Upon seeing it, his face turned fearful, and he broke out in a cold sweat incessantly. The young man then used his oppressive aura to squeeze the gem hard, causing sparks of electricity to radiate around it. Instantly, the gem shattered, erupting with an extremely powerful energy that sent the demon flying backward. As the energy gradually dissipated, the gem was revealed with cracks around it, no longer intact as before. Oh my god. Young master, you managed to crack the dragon pearl just by using your aura. It's truly astonishing. This is the hardest natural material in the underworld. With this level of magical power, even in the heavenly palace, you could rank among the top 100 martial masters. Ha 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 ha, how could that be? How could a tiny piece of trash like me compare to the great figures in the heavenly palace? But at least I won't be punished anymore, hehe. At that moment, Yan Wong appeared behind him and spoke in a deep voice. What are you laughing about? Are you very happy? Seeing him, the young man's expression immediately became fearful and timid, shrinking back. Father, no, it's not like that. Yan Wong then reached out and took the precious pearl from his son's hand. Next, he looked at it with a disdainful expression and continued. Is this the capital you dare to be so smug about? Saying this, he merely squeezed lightly and crushed the precious pearl with an emotionless face. Is that all? Do you still feel you're very skilled now? Hearing this, the young man didn't dare say anything more and sadly turned his head away. Yan Wong, seeing his attitude, glared and raised his fist. This king is asking you. As he finished speaking, his fist swung straight into his son's face with a devastating blow. Taking that blow sent him flying backward, crashing into the wall with a loud thud. Not stopping there, Yan Wong continued to approach him. Then he swung his hand, grabbed his neck tightly, and lifted him into the air. Let me remind you, trashy talent like yours, even with utmost effort, is only third rate. Without effort, you wouldn't even reach ninth rate. Saying this, Yan Wong threw his son down, turned his back, and left, giving an order. 10 days of confinement. Wake up. Useless scum. The young man lay on the floor, not daring to say anything, watching his father's retreating figure with a sad expression. At the same time, at the temporary encampment in the mountains, on this side, 2 soldiers were standing, relieving themselves and talking. Really now? What kind of rule-breaking is this even to pee? We have to be 3 zhang away from the camp. Speak less. The reason our Longqi army is invincible under heaven is because of our strict military discipline, isn't it? While the 2 were talking, they paused upon hearing a sound coming from a nearby jar. The 2 then curiously approached the jar, wondering. What's this sound? From inside the jar, dozens of misshapen cloth masks were protruding. One of the 2, seeing this, recoiled in fear and exclaimed, What the hell is this? The other, with an unfrightened expression, gritted his teeth and replied, What's there to be surprised about? Saying this, that person picked up the jar and looked closely at it. Probably some idle heretical cult made this. Pointless. Before the soldier could finish his sentence, a stream of demonic energy cut through his body, giving him no time to react. The last one standing on this side, witnessing the scene, was further terrified, his eyes wide open, speechless. Now surrounding him were giant demons with blood-red eyes staring at him. Looking at the extremely grotesque creatures before him, he couldn't help but exclaim in panic, This! What kind of monstrous thing is this? A second later, the unfortunate soldier's terrified scream echoed throughout the entire forest. Time flew by. 10 days later. After rescuing the king and the people of the New Air Kingdom, He Xian had to flee throughout the night. That was because the entire village wanted to repay him, but He Xian couldn't handle it alone. On the way, for some unknown reason, the little monkey king not only couldn't recover, but also fell into a deep sleep. In other words, during these days of travel, there were only 2 people, He Xian and Zhu Xuannu. The male lead now turned to look at Xuannu beside him and started a conversation. Xuannu, good disciple. Besides practicing martial arts, do you have any special talents? No. I only know how to practice martial arts. Then do you have any happy memories from the past? Forgive me, I only practice martial arts every day. Then tell me a bit about things you're interested in. We can talk. Practicing martial arts. The conversation ended there, duller than ever. For the following days, the 2 of them silently moved forward in an awkward atmosphere. Oh my God, monkey, please wake up quickly. This is embarrassingly awkward for me. This kid won't have any problems, right? But his aura is completely normal. Is he just unconscious? What was even stranger was that since using the card twice, a vague source of power suddenly began to appear in He Xian's body. This energy truly felt like a close relative, no, even more familiar, as if it belonged to him. At this moment, the system also displayed a notification. Target range reached. Looking at the temporary encampment in front of him, made the male lead a little surprised and curious. Why is Yan Wong in a mortal's military tent? Upon entering, what struck his eyes were the dried corpses of soldiers piled up and scattered on the ground. Witnessing this scene, He Xian couldn't help but exclaim in astonishment. Did a war happen here? Zhannu quickly approached from behind and placed her hand on the body of a nearby corpse. The yin energy is too dense. What's going on? Even if ordinary people die, it wouldn't be like this. At the same time, He Xian's system displayed an arrow pointing in another direction, with a notification. Yan Wong's residence. After walking a bit more, both of them stopped in front of the only tomb in that forest. Inside the tomb door, a stream of yin energy was radiating along with a sign that read, This is the residence of Yan Wong. Seeing this, He Xian's face turned terrified, his jaw dropped, and his eyes rolled back. The kid, frightened by tomb-raiding novels from his past life, now thought of the horrors below and trembled as he spoke. Could it be in this tomb? You're kidding, right? No, I don't want to go in. But if the mission isn't completed, my little life will also be lost. Mommy, I want to go back to Earth. Xuannu, standing on this side, looked at the male lead's pale face and asked with some curiosity, Master, are you scared? Hearing her ask, He Xian was startled and paused for a moment. Then he tried to act like he was fine, patting his head and forcing a smile in reply. Ha ha ha, how could that be? Your master is so strong it's boring, so I usually like to act as if I'm very old. Just ignore me. Xuannu, being honest and unsuspicious, heard this and praised with some admiration. A master is indeed a master. His way of doing things is too hard to understand. After saying that, she unhesitatingly stepped into the tomb, leaving the male lead behind. Then let me go measure. Hey, walk a little slower. Don't get too far from me. A moment later, after both had entered the tomb, Xuannu looked at Hsian's bloodless face, who was clinging to her, and praised in surprise. The master acts really well. But to reiterate, the yin energy here is getting heavier and heavier. Suddenly, a strange sound came from a nearby rock crevice, startling the male lead, causing him to jump and yelp. His expression now became extremely vigilant as he asked softly, "What was that just now? What sound was it?" Looking closely, it was the sound of a frog slowly hopping forward. Seeing this, the male lead felt relieved, placed his hand on his chest and sighed. Turns out it was just a frog. Scared the hell out of me. His complexion then brightened up again as he continued forward, unaware that danger was lurking behind him. After a few steps, Hsian sensed something and instinctively turned his head back. Only then did he see a group of demons, freezing in place for 5 seconds. Xuannu, standing nearby, also saw them, her expression turning angry as she thought. All king-level nether beasts. What's going on? Creatures from the netherworld cannot appear in the human realm. Not right. There must be a great chaos happening somewhere. Returning to the male lead's side now, he was running for his life, his mouth constantly exclaiming, "About to die! About to die! About to die!" But he hadn't run far before the monster's tentacles rushed out and wrapped around his body. Next, it opened its large mouth wide and slowly brought the male lead in amidst his screams. Help! I'm about to die, about to die. Xuannu, standing below, heard this, looked up at him and prepared to act. But she then remembered the male lead's instructions, paused, smiled, and spoke. "It's okay. Master is so strong he must be playing around again." "What? Hey, what's with that relieved expression of yours? I'm about to die here." Saying this, Hsian looked at the distance between himself and the demon's mouth and exclaimed, "Am I really about to die?" 2 streams of tears then rolled down his helpless face. "I'm done for. This time I'm really done for. I said I can't cultivate immortality." The scene shifts to Wukong, who is unconscious and lying on the ground. He then suddenly opened his bright eyes wide and looked towards the male lead. Then he surveyed his surroundings and sprang to his feet. Next, he raised his arm with a serious expression and began to channel his energy, unleashing the incomplete Dao technique. "All things are born from the Dao." As he finished speaking, Wukong immediately waved his hand, sending a stream of energy towards the demon. The previous blow instantly created a large hole in the demon's chest, felling it. Hsian was thus rescued, falling from above. Wukong, standing below after eliminating one, glanced at the remaining ones and spoke. "Too many Dao demons." At this moment, all of them rushed towards the small but full of potential Wukong in front of them. Seeing this, his expression unwavering, he glanced at all of them with a sharp gaze. But at this moment, another demon appeared from behind, swinging its giant foot down, aiming straight for Wukong's body. Hsian, standing on this side, saw this and worriedly shouted, "Careful behind you." Just as the giant foot swung down, it was blocked by Wukong's 2 arms. No matter how hard the demon tried, it couldn't stomp on him. His eyes had now become cold and sharp, filled with killing intent, as he spoke in a deep voice. It must collapse. As he finished speaking, Wukong immediately tensed up, emitting an extremely powerful energy that pushed back the demon's giant foot. Then that energy accumulated into glowing orbs flying around his body. Next, his gaze continued to sweep over the demon in front of him as he spoke. So the more one ignores martial arts, the deeper one can enter the Dao. As Wukong finished speaking, all the demons rushed straight towards him, their mouths wide open. He had never been afraid of anyone, so he glared, frowned, and looked at the whole group. Then his face darkened as he raised his arm, which was enveloped in his energy. Instantly at his location, a massive burst of energy erupted, blowing all of them away. That energy burst grew stronger and stronger, illuminating the entire cave. Hsian, standing on this side, witnessed the scene, his face unable to hide his astonishment as he stared at Wukong's back in front of him. Wukong then turned his head, gave a thumbs up, smiled, and spoke. "Master, how was it? This kid's aura is completely like he's transformed into a different person." Xuannu, standing near him, couldn't help but think in astonishment. Strong. Too strong. I am definitely not his opponent now. Clearly not long ago we were still evenly matched. It must be because a master taught him. At this moment, Xuannu's admiration for Hsian had increased. This level can still be surpassed even further. Thinking of this, she covered her blushing face with both hands in embarrassment. "Why is my face so hot?" At the same time, on the male lead's side, he was looking at Wukong, who had just landed in front of him, and asked curiously, "I say, monkey, what on earth is going on?" "Ha, my master is skilled, isn't he?" The deep sleep before was because I was readjusting the meridians in my body after failing to use the realm last time. Now I can do it 8 times. Hearing this, Hsian had no words left and thought to himself, 8 times. This kid's talent is truly formidable. The peak card can only be used a little over 10 times, right? If this continues, I'll end up tormenting my disciple. I need to find a way to get stronger quickly. At this moment, from the monkey's perspective, the male lead was Hsian, who was biting his lip, looking at him angrily with a disdainful gaze. Only 8 times. Then your kid's talent is truly formidable, God. Is this tone and expression of master mocking me? Are you saying I'm too arrogant to become a great monkey? Thinking of this, Wukong unhesitatingly knelt down, kowtowed, and said loudly, Master Disciple knows he was wrong. Please don't be disappointed. And please don't send me away. I still have many things to learn. Hishan, hearing this, frowned in confusion and asked back, What with what? At this moment, the system panel displayed a notification. Congratulations, potential value increased from 5% to 35%. Obtained reward small king's mask prop gift pack. After the notification, the system immediately awarded that mask into the male lead's palm. He was once again dazed, not understanding what was happening, and spoke in bewilderment. What did I do again? What does this thing do? This darn system didn't even give any hints. At the same time, Xuannu on this side had approached Wukong and asked curiously, By the way, doesn't Master like to act like a chicken? Why interrupt? Aren't you afraid of being punished? Hey, you don't understand this. According to my observation of Master, cooperating with him to act out the rescuing the newbie chicken scene is the most fun. While the two were talking, a soul suddenly appeared from behind, rushing towards them. Both of them now noticed its presence and immediately whipped their heads around. Wukong then started to act first, shouting loudly, Which vile creature is this, such audacity? But as he finished speaking, the soul did nothing and flew right through his body. Next it flew straight in another direction behind the two. Following it were dozens of other souls also swarming in. None of them had any malicious intent towards the three of them. Hishan and company and all quickly flew past them. Hishan, seeing this, still didn't understand what was happening and turned to look at Xuannu, puzzled. What is this reporting to Master? They should all be mortal souls. But under normal circumstances, one needs a special magical artifact to see them. It's said that unless there's an extreme mission, one cannot see them. After hearing her, the male lead looked at those souls in surprise and thought to himself, Who on earth killed these living beings? Could it be Yan Wong? Not long after, a passage gate appeared in front of the three, with streams of dark energy emanating from within. All three were now staring at it with vigilant expressions, not letting their guard down. This aura is unmistakable. Unexpectedly, someone actually dares to open a passage between the two realms. Who on earth has such guts? No matter who he is. If he dares to disregard life, we'll fight him first and talk later. His two disciples, hearing this, silently looked at him as if waiting for something. After a while, all three remained in that posture, only that the two disciples' faces had become solemn. Xuannu, unable to wait any longer, spoke up curiously. Master, why are you motionless? Wukong, standing beside him now, also understood the male lead's hidden meaning from his frozen expression. Then, he immediately volunteered to go inside and spoke. Master, don't compete with me, I'll be the vanguard. I like being the vanguard the most. Very good, worthy of having Wu enlightenment in your name. Saying that, Wukong also confidently and leisurely entered the passage gate. Hishan then continued as the last one to enter, carefully looking around and speaking. Don't go too fast, wait for me. Saying this, he instinctively looked to one side of him with a very vigilant expression. In front of him now was a female demon with a giant body and thorny roots wrapped around her lower half. Witnessing that terrifying sight made Hishan's soul fly to the clouds as he fell backward and exclaimed, Damn it, it's really the cursed old woman. After saying that, he also backed up close to a cliff behind his two disciples. Master, don't be afraid. It seems to be in a deep sleep. Hearing that, his whole body still trembled like a leaf as he asked back, Sure. Are you sure it's not Xuannu and Wukong then began to approach the feet of the cursed old woman? Then they placed their hands on a random root beneath her feet. Instantly, Xuannu could feel the mournful cries of resentful souls within. Wukong then also turned to look at the male lead and recounted what he had seen. Xuannu then also interjected. This guy must be afraid of attracting the attention of the upper realm, so he sent a group of spirit beasts to sneak into the human realm to help him kill people and collect souls. But aren't spirit beasts in the human realm very prone to falling into a state of madness? Just use a special magical artifact to set up a small barrier beforehand and it'll be fine. It can make a proud king-level creature become its slave. The power of this monster is immeasurable. No, this big guy is also helping someone carry out their deeds. Wukong, hearing this, gaped in astonishment, his eyes wide. What? Helping someone carry out deeds, that's right. See the coffin hanging in its belly? The one lying inside is their true boss. Then how did you see it? I don't feel anything special. Because I recognize that its master is an old acquaintance of my father, a great figure who was once the 10th on the heavenly realm martial ranking. The two young men, hearing this, were completely shocked and exclaimed, What, the 10th of the heavenly palace martial ranking? I didn't mishear, did I? You said he's the 10th great figure in the heavenly palace martial ranking. That's right. I recognize the special totem on the coffin. Hishan, standing behind, heard this and quickly spoke with a panicked expression. Then what are you standing there for? Let's scram quickly. Just as he finished speaking, a voice suddenly echoed from somewhere. Want to run? Try running and see. Hishan, hearing this, his soul flew to the clouds as he darted to hug Xuannu's body and exclaimed, Mommy, who is that? Didn't it lose consciousness? Master, it's not this big guy. It's the sound behind her. Don't panic. Wait for old son Wukong to go check first. Saying that, Wukong immediately approached, looked down with an astonished expression. There really are people. In front of Wukong were the figures of two people tied up before someone. It seems like it's not just one person. The two people tied up on the vines are Heibai Wuchang with bruised faces. The one who had just taken care of them stood in front, smiling smugly and disdainfully speaking. The left and right arms of old Yan Wong only have this level of skill. Boring to death. Don't fantasize about escaping anymore. With your strength you can't escape. Bai Wuchang on this side with a fearful expression quickly said loudly. That guy is really a monster. A monster, do you understand? 30 years ago, nearly 2 entire cities of common people died unjustly. It was all his doing just to relieve boredom. Do you really think such a person would be grateful to you for helping him come back to life? Stop dreaming. He'll be the first to kill you. While his soul isn't fully gathered, yet turn back while you still can. The three-eyed one after hearing this showed no remorse on his face. Instead, he smiled excitedly and continued, Do you really think I revived him to receive his gratitude? It's all just for chaos, my dear. Bai Wuchang hearing this asked back with some surprise and curiosity. What do you mean? To make the world return to the beautiful moments of 30 years ago. What's my tiny life worth? A worthy death, my dear. Ha ha ha, just thinking about it is wonderful. This bastard is crazy. Xiaohei, let me buy you some time. Quickly go report to the great king. It's best to still inform the heavenly court. But in our current state, how can we escape? Rest assured. My trump card hasn't been used yet. You just need to run, that's all. As he finished speaking, Bai Wushang instantly broke free and leaped into the air. Then he channeled his energy and unleashed a technique. 100 Ghosts, Secret Art, 33, Glass Paradise World, Seal. Instantly, the three-eyed one's entire body was frozen by Bai Wushang's technique. He Wushang also took that opportunity to untie himself and escape. Then looking at Bai Wushang beside him with a worried expression, he quickly said, Stop quickly. Run quickly. If you don't want me to die in vain, stop talking nonsense. He Wushang hearing this was suddenly surprised, gritted his teeth in astonishment. But then he quickly regained his composure and replied seriously, I understand. After saying that, He Wushang began to channel his energy using the crimson flowing light ghost shadow technique to create streams of spiritual power around his body. Next, without delaying another second, he shot off like the wind. After flying for a distance, he turned his head to look back with a worried face. Xiao Bai, you absolutely must not die. I'll bring you back right away. But just as He Wushang finished his thought, the three-eyed one had at some point appeared behind him, raising both hands with an excited expression. Even Bai Wushang, standing on this side, didn't know when he had escaped, gaping in astonishment. The three-eyed one then immediately swung his hand, delivering an extremely powerful blow to He Wushang's body, causing him to crash down onto the ground below with a tremendous sound. Bai Wushang standing on this side witnessing that could only helplessly call out the two words, Xiao He. As the smoke gradually dissipated, it revealed him lying motionless in a large crater on the ground. The three-eyed one then also leisurely approached him whistling. He Wushang, now barely breathing, looked up at him weakly begging, This will cause so much suffering for so many living beings. I beg you, please stop. I beg you. He paid no attention to his words and maintained the excited smile on his face, laughing loudly. Ha ha ha, noisy fellow. Saying this, the three-eyed one immediately swung his arm, which was imbued with his true energy, straight down onto He Wushang's body. Go die. But when he was just a short distance away, he suddenly paused, struggling to move his body. The three-eyed one's body was now stopped by some invisible force standing motionless. What's happening? Why can't my body move? Bai Wushang on this side also sensed something, and immediately whipped his head around. This aura, could it be? Just as he sensed. From afar, Yan Wong's son was approaching, rubbing his head. At the same time, on the male lead side, the system also displayed a notification. Congratulations, host, you have found the target. Is he Xiao Yan Wong? The three-eyed one now also turned to look at Xiao Yan Wong with a surprised expression, thinking to himself, This bastard looks cowardly. But the aura radiating around him is truly terrifying. Moreover, who is this Lord Lin he speaks of? I'm afraid I'm not his match. Thinking of this, he turned to look at the giant old woman sleeping behind him and said loudly, Second deity, help me. The second deity on this side, hearing this, was immediately awakened, her two bright eyes opening wide. The coffin lying on her stomach also slid off. The second deity then looked up at the sky and roared, causing the roots around her body to be released, emitting an extremely powerful, dark energy. Immediately after, she and those roots began to rush towards the three-eyed one whose mouth was wide open. In an instant, the second deity's body transformed into a stream of energy and entered his body. On his face now, half of the second deity's face had also appeared, speaking in unison loudly. My wife and I, too, become one, becoming peerless in the world. After the introduction, he began to lift his foot and step towards Xiao Yan Wong, with an extremely powerful aura radiating around him. Ready to die yet? But before he could be cool for 2 seconds, both he and his wife froze with bewildered expressions. Their faces then turned panicked as they exclaimed, Why can't we still move? How outrageous. Which deity are you exactly? Boo-hoo, don't play with me like this, okay? Who on earth are you? I'm really just an errand boy in the underworld. It's all Lord Qi's doing. Saying this, Xiao Yan Wong began to raise one of his fingers, creating a wave of spiritual power. If you don't believe me, I'll show you. Just as the young man finished speaking at the three-eyed one's location, a giant Qi Lin clearly appeared, holding him tightly. This damn thing is it, the legendary Qi Lin divine beast. I've grown this old and have only heard about it in fairy tales. This wave of spiritual power, even if we two deities combine, we are no match. We must find a way to escape and wait until the great senior revives. After thinking, they began to beg. Big brother, I know I was wrong. Can you spare me? Sorry, but that won't do. My father has given the order. Your father isn't here. Give me a chance. No. Father, the old master, is everywhere. Hsien, standing nearby, now placed his hand on his chest and took a breath. The power of the 10th on the martial ranking is truly terrifying. Luckily he was, by the powerful Yan Wong. No. The power of that great lord hasn't even been used by a fraction. Otherwise, except for Master, everyone else would have to stand still. I affirm that. As for Master, I'm not sure either. Damn, it's that terrifying. Is he only the 10th? Wukong, standing on this side, was already full of fighting spirit, warming up his limbs with an excited expression, and spoke. Master, this person is too strong. My hands are itching too. That's good. You try against him once. Remember to be careful. Understood. As he finished speaking, Wukong immediately went full throttle, rushing straight towards Yan Wong with a belligerent expression. The young man on this side also noticed him rushing over and began to become vigilant. Just as Wukong entered Yan Wong's attack range, he was immediately bound by an ink dragon technique from him. Wukong, seeing this, frowned, gritted his teeth, and silently acknowledged Yan Wong's ability. Indeed, this guy is very strong. But I'm not as useless as before. As he finished speaking, an energy orb gradually formed in his palm. Next, he immediately clasped his hands together and used a great Dao power blow to destroy Yan Wong's technique. The young man on this side, seeing this, covered his face, his jaw dropped in astonishment as he exclaimed, "What is this source of power? Too terrifying." Wukong didn't stop there but continued to rush forward with a serious expression. Yan Wong now also began to raise one of his fingers, creating a wave of spiritual power, and continued softly. So sorry, Zhuan family. Divine beast summoning Zhuan Wu barrier formation. At this moment, from within his wave of spiritual power, a giant Zhuan Wu black tortoise appeared, roaring a few times. Wukong, pained by its roars, couldn't bear it, fell to the ground, clutched his head, and exclaimed, "My head! Pain, 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 pain." Zhuan Nu on this side, witnessing the scene, couldn't help but exclaim in awe, "All of them are rare divine beasts in the world. Each one is extraordinary. Heaven is truly unfair. How can someone with a mountain of divine artifacts criticize others? Speaking of which, one has supreme comprehension. One has supreme talent. Only my master has nothing." Just as the male lead said this, a wrath from high heavens descended, striking him straight on the head as a warning. Returning to Wukong's side now, he was frantically punching the shell of the Zhuan Wu that was protecting Yan Wong. Half an hour later, that shell was still intact, shiny, without a single scratch. Seeing he couldn't break it, Wukong couldn't help but shout angrily, "Come out and fight me fair and square, your excellency, Demon King. How can this humble one be your opponent? I surrender. Surrender. What kind of man are you? No skill at all. This was all bestowed by my father. Without it, I am nothing. Bullshit. Do you take old Sun me for a fool? Summoned beasts are due to one's own talent. How can they be bestowed by others? That's also because of father's genetic inheritance. It has nothing to do with me. Open your mouth, it's father. Close your mouth, it's father. How old are you, kid? That's the truth. If father hadn't allowed it, I couldn't have acted. Aya, this bastard is annoying me to death. Get out for me." Zhuan Nu, standing on this side after hearing their conversation, couldn't help but burst out laughing. Haha, what kind of person summons a bunch of divine beasts and then calls himself trash? Genius isn't enough to describe him. That's right. Why do I also feel this guy was PUA'd by his father growing up? PUA. What does PUA mean? How can I make you visualize it? You can understand it as a type of control magic. After explaining, Hsian's expression became serious as he looked towards Wukong. Need to confirm a bit. Hsian then raised his arm high and said loudly, "Monkey, stop first. Take me there." Wukong, hearing this, also stopped and turned to look at him with a puzzled expression. Then he also followed the order and brought the male lead before Yan Wong. "Haha, little brother, I have something else I'm curious about. Your strength is so great, why are you always so modest?" "It's not modesty. Compared to my father, I'm just like worthless trash, not even worth mentioning." "Your father said that, isn't that a bit too harsh?" No, father is just doing it for my own good." "Then may I be so bold as to ask a question? Have you ever been to places other than the underworld?" "No, never. Father told me to limit contact with outsiders. I already have no talent. If I'm disturbed by others and delayed, it's even more hopeless." Hearing this, Hsian could only helplessly place his hand on his face and think, "Oh God, it's really the PUA type. Beyond saving." Wukong at this moment interjected curiously, "Master, why are you telling him these things? Give me one incense stick's time, I promise to break his cage." "Wukong, don't say anymore. This little brother is too embarrassed. It's my fault for mistaking you. Truly offensive. Please, your excellency, be magnanimous and don't hold it against me." "Ahem, senior, you're exaggerating. It's okay. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave first." Okay, please proceed at your leisure." Both of them then returned to their positions, watching Yan Wong's retreating figure grow smaller. Hsien now turned to look at Zhuan Nu and asked curiously, "Zhuan Nu, are you sure your concealment artifact won't be discovered?" "Master, rest assured. This is something father gave me. Father said that apart from those in the top 10 of the martial ranking, no one can see through it." "Ayya, your father has so many treasures." Wukong, standing behind, also rubbed his head and asked curiously, "Master, then why exactly do we have to follow him? You're not planning to take another disciple, are you? I of course have my plans. This person's personality is so insecure. Even using the peak card might not increase his potential value. The key to increasing his potential definitely lies with his father. There's something else I want to say, Master. Is there something wrong with your body? Hearing him ask it made him a little surprised and curious. Why do you ask that? With Master's unfathomable strength, before I clearly couldn't sense even half a point of spiritual power leaking out, but now I can sense a little bit leaking out. Approximately chi condensation stage 7 or 8, something like that. Zhuan Nu, standing beside him, also interjected. I also sensed that. I thought it was my illusion. Hearing them say that, He Xian stood there blankly for a moment. Then his eyes lit up as he thought to himself, Qi condensation stage 7 or 8. Indeed, it's not my illusion. My body has become stronger again thanks to using the peak card. If that's the case, this strong sense of familiarity probably isn't wrong. Could it be that I was truly a peerless expert before? My memories were altered and I was mixed in as a loser. While the male lead was still happily thinking about nonsensical things, Wukong beside him started pointing at Yan Wong's back and spoke, Master. He's about to leave. Seeing this, he immediately dashed off, calling his 2 disciples. Quick, quick, quick. Following him. At the same time, in the Asura martial arts arena of the underworld, a match was being held with hundreds of spectators watching. When the signal just started, a monster rushed forward, opened its mouth wide, accumulated an orb of spiritual power, and shouted, Try this. After saying that, he shot a stream of spiritual power from his mouth towards the other one. The old man standing in front of him, seeing this, raised his hand to block it gently with a smug look on his face. Not stopping there, the fat guy continued to rush forward, raising one of his arms high. Try this and see. Just as he swung his hand down, the old man in front with agile movements circled behind him and spoke. It's my turn, right, fatty? As he finished speaking, the old man immediately swung his fist, but it was quickly blocked by the fat guy. The old man then launched a kick, catching him off guard, unable to react in time, and was hit. The fat guy also didn't lose out, swinging his fist straight at the old man's face, forcing the old man to quickly raise his hand to block. The others standing below witnessing the scene couldn't hide their excitement and spoke up, worthy of being the second killing general. His strength is indeed domineering. When will we reach their level? In my dreams it seems more feasible, ha ha ha. At the same time, old Yan Wong on this side had stood up, looked at the 2 fighting in the air and said loudly, Enough, stop for this king, a bunch of useless fools. Fighting more is just like bears fighting. The 2 of them up there hearing this also stopped and turned to look at him angrily, thinking, Indeed, the old man wants to start bullying again. Yan Wong then also began to open his mouth wide and continue shouting, With your pathetic level, you're not even worthy of this king, glancing at you 100 years ago. Great king, please forgive us. It's that we subordinates didn't learn well. Don't call me great king. You are not worthy. Saying this, the old man began to point his finger at each one, giving orders. You and you all. Come at me with all your strength. Let you remember how high the sky and how thick the earth are. What are you standing there for? Act quickly. All those people were now terrified, knelt down on the ground, bowed their heads and said in unison, We dare not, we dare not, we subordinates absolutely dare not. Hearing this, the old man smirked and thought to himself, Forgiving you wouldn't dare either. After thinking, the old man's eyes turned blood red, with an extremely powerful aura, as he continued, A bunch of useless fools. If you dare to fight this king, even when you can't win, I'd still consider you men. Not like now, you are truly despicable. Damn it, believing that old bastard's dog shit. Last time the Western Ghost King believed the old bastard's dog shit words. He was beaten by the old bastard under some pretext and hasn't gotten out of bed for half a year. What the old man wants is simply the pleasure of everyone kneeling and licking his shoes. Truly an old hypocrite. Doesn't even dare to go to the heavenly palace, just madly showing off his might in his own home. He's the useless one. At the same time, Yan Wong from outside had also returned and announced, Father, your child has returned. Seeing this, the old man also glanced over and asked curiously, Finished your business? Yes, finished. Indeed, there was a demon king causing trouble, but he has been put in prison, sir. Put in prison? Didn't I tell you to bring his head to see me? Ah, didn't father say to put him in prison? Isn't this the earth prison token you specially gave me? Hearing this, the old man couldn't argue back and became furious, gritting his teeth. Then his eyes turned blood red as he looked at Yan Wong and said in a deep voice, Are you implying this king remembers incorrectly? No, I didn't mean that. Not giving him time to explain, the old man had already raised his fist and interjected. Then let me ask you, would this king give a wrong order? As he finished speaking, he swung his fist and punched his son mercilessly in the face. Taking that blow sent Yan Wong flying far away, crashing onto the martial arts arena, causing dirt and stones to fly everywhere. As the smoke gradually dissipated, it revealed the young man lying motionless on a pile of rubble. Not stopping there, Yan Wong continued to approach his son step by step with a cold expression. The subordinates standing behind, seeing this, trembled like leaves, not daring to make a sound. At this moment, the old man had also reached him and looked down at his son. Then he slowly bent down and reached out his hand. Next, he grabbed his collar, lifted him into the air and said loudly, From now on, whoever dares to doubt this king will end up like him. Have you all heard clearly? The ones kneeling before the old man now also shouted in unison. Yes, we obey, great king. Is this old man taking the opportunity to warn everyone? Even if he's wrong, he has to be right. Even a vicious tiger doesn't eat its own cubs, yet he uses his own son to kill the chicken to scare the monkey. Damn beast. With so many people around, doesn't he need to save some face for his son? Old Yan Wong now looked at his son and continued speaking. I ask you again, did I tell you to put him in prison or to bring his head fa? Father, you really did say to put him in prison. Hearing this, the old man's face turned fierce again as he stared at him with blood-red eyes full of killing intent. The subordinates kneeling on this side were also panicking for him and spoke loudly, Young master, don't be stubborn anymore. You'll really die. Yan Wong now began to raise his fist high and ask again, What did you just say? Speak louder for me. This king is deaf and didn't hear clearly. Just as the old man was about to punch again, a beam of light suddenly appeared from behind, landed and stopped him. The male lead and his two disciples leisurely walked out from within and spoke. Hey, old man. I was worried there were too many people here. If I didn't save you some face, it would be a bit too much. Now it's good. You really don't need any face, do you, old man? Wukong and Xuannu behind him also began to warm up their joints with excited expressions, looking at old Yan Wong. The old man standing on this side was also looking at the three of them with a sharp gaze and spoke in a deep voice. Where did these snot-nosed brats come from, daring to come to the gates of the underworld to cut off their own path to life? Wukong then also volunteered and stepped forward quickly saying, Master, let me deal with him. But the male lead, now unlike usual, replied with a serious expression. No need. This time let me handle it myself.